Here.
Glover?
Here.
Hamel?
Here.
We have a quorum, gentlemen.
Mr. Glover, would you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Helm, would you lead us in prayer?
Yes, sir. Father, we thank you for this day and thank you for your many blessings. We ask you to breathe on us today, Father. God, may you put your hand upon the citizens of this great county. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Item number 5, approve or disapprove of the minutes from August the 19th and special meeting August 19th, 2013.
I've got some changes
Yes, sir.
in here on item 16, District 3 to Walmart for, I think that's, was that $100? Or it's got an S there. I don't know what that's supposed to be.
Where you at?
Item 16, from blanket purchase orders for District 3.
I believe that was that was $100, yes.
It is $100.
Yes, sir.
Okay. That's one. And grants, item 17, resolution authorizing applications for financial assistance for REAP fund for District 1. I'd like for that also to reflect the 2014-27 Sequoia Schools and District Number 1. And also I made that motion, and Commissioner Thacker seconded.
Yes, that is correct.
Are you getting all that, Pam?
Anything further?
No. Other than that, I make a motion to approve.
Okay, I'll second.
Thacker?
Aye.
Delozer?
Aye.
Hamel?
Aye.
Motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 6, new business. Is there any new business, gentlemen? Okay, item number 7, announcements. Do you have any announcements?
No, sir.
You? Okay, I have an announcement. It may be lengthy. In light of certain things that have been happening, I want to, number 1, to ask, it's not an agenda item, so we can't vote on this, but I would like to ask the District Attorney's Office to conclude their investigation. And at this point, I can't see any reason that it needs to go further. Now, to clarify, I don't know what's wrong with this thing. To clarify this, if we did not do our due diligence and look into this, then it would be the same as, say, the reporter getting a tip and just not following up. If we do look into it, we can't comment on a pending investigation. So some will see this as weakness, so be it. Some will see it as something other than it is. At this point, what I would like to do is ask for the newspaper, the commissioners, anyone else who was involved, to stop and take a short breath, breathe in some of that good Rogers County air, and try to move forward, because I think that we're all in a position to where we're trying to do our jobs. I believe that the noblest of intentions have been put out there, but I believe we've got to a point where it's ridiculous. And so I would be the first one to offer that olive branch, if you will, make a commitment to continue to help Miss Celicia with, finding records, whatever it is that she needs. I think we've done that. I would also just like to say that there comes a point, again, where this has gotten completely ridiculous. So without blaming or pointing fingers, we simply stop at this moment, take a deep breath, and move forward, because I do believe we want the same things. It doesn't do the citizens of our county or anyone else any good to play the blame game. I think we need to cease with unnecessary posturing and move in the right direction. I'm not asking the paper to write only favorable stories. If there's news, write it. I'm asking that they keep the editorials and opinions in the editorial section. That's all I'm asking. Fair and all of the facts and not just part of them. That's it. I don't think that's too much to ask. I would commit on the other side to being as professional as I possibly can be. That's all I got.
That's good.
Item number 8. Discussion possible action regarding the follow-up of E911 addressing establishment of accounts. Commissioner Helm, this item was tabled from August the 12th and August the 19th. Commissioner Helm.
Mr. Chairman, since we have Mr. Portis here and also Karen, and mine's a pretty lengthy discussion, could we ask that Mr. Portis go ahead with his presentation?
We can. What item is that?
Number 3 on the agenda, sir.
Okay, if you would, in your agendas, item number 19, agenda item number 3, Bob Portis to give a presentation on updates at the Port of Catoosa. Mr. Bob Portis.
One positive after another. I think that's wonderful. As a citizen of Rogers County, I commend you for that, Commissioner Kirk. I think that's wonderful. Good for you. Today I'm going to take, and Jeff, watch me 10 minutes, and then that's it. Give you an update of kind of some duplication from last time, but all of this is really positive kind of stuff. It's exciting. I hope you'll be able to share in our excitement. First, a little background. I think all of you are aware of the fact that we are located at the head of navigation for the McClellan-Kerr Arkansas River Navigation System, part of our nation's 15,000 miles of navigable waterways that are maintained by the Corps, all represented by the blue lines. I show you this for another reason. Here about a year and a half ago, the Corps, and I apologize to you for putting my back to you, but I guess I don't have any choice. That about a year and a half ago, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers came up with a plan for locks that have 1,000 lockages or less per year to reduce the hours of operations on all of the locks on those systems by 4 hours a day. Now, it's kind of a complicated thing to explain, but suffice it to say, I'm really pleased that because of the strong working relationship that we have with the Corps, the partnership we have, they lifted that. We're basically now recognized as a model waterway for the entire country because of that spirit of cooperation that we've put together, that we have with the Corps. We're going to take care of our maintenance. We're going to overcome much of our critical backlog, and we can do that because of our ongoing relationship with them. So now we're open 24/7 again, just like we were a year and a half ago. I show you this because I'm going to show you, it helps for you to understand where these things are at that I'm going to show you. But look at this, 4,000 employees. We hit the peak. Isn't that wonderful? And it's continuing to grow. The projections for the next quarter are even stronger. So that's really, really exciting. Back several years ago, I'm just going to show you some of the changes I'm going to show you in the next couple of minutes. Insulation Specialists started with a 30,000 square foot facility at this location. They are now up to over 60,000 square feet, plus they have 3 other locations. This parcel is gone. We built a 2 football field wide, if you will, or a facility that has the capacity of the same as 2 football fields for road salts. And it's full right now. Last winter was pretty mild, as you know, but that's all right. It'll come back and they'll need that particular road salt. If you look at the main wharf, I'm going to show you a complete transformation of this dock that's going to occur over the next 2 years. Truth Chemical took this particular 10 acres for a new fertilizer facility. There's 2 different new industries up here. We've graded this 45 acres. It's ready for new industry, and I think we're going to be able to report to you within the next 3 to 4 months at most, this 40 acres is going to be gone. Brand new industrial facility, mega jobs, all related to the waterway. Port employment, I just told you about the 4,000. This is kind of a track, if you will, going back to September of 2011 to now. Really good news. Port tonnage, likewise, continues to hold in there, very solid. 2.7 million tons last year. It looks like this year is going to be another banner year, which we're excited about. Always need to remind us, we talk about these different sectors of our economy, like American Airlines, how strong that is, what a major contributor they are to our economy, but let's not forget our maritime industry. 8,000 direct jobs, okay? Over $5 billion of industrial investment. Just absolutely mind-boggling, and we tend to forget that because it's kind of out of sight, out of mind. Some project cargo continues to be a big deal for us. This is an example of the diversification of your port and how it works. But Schlumberger, I don't know how they get Schlumberger. I would pronounce that Slumber, but I guess it's Schlumberger. But they brought all of this equipment out here simply to take it down to Lake Dardanelle to take care of an oil well that needed some very serious repairs to it. Notice this is a deck barge, 150 feet long, about 45 feet wide. Notice it has 2 towboats on it, a couple other boats. There was gravel, there was piping. I mean, the list goes on and on. They took it down to Dardanelle. They spent 2 weeks, fixed it, and came back and unloaded it. Away they go. But that's the kind of the flexibility that your port has. Fractionator, whatever that is. But here again, built in Emporia, Kansas, 165 feet long, 283,000 pounds. If our Department of Transportation wonders why we need a 4-lane from the port to 169, this is a prime example of why. When we take something like this over the road, we shut down traffic, to say the least. Here it is in a single barge, 195-foot long barge, fits in kind of nice and comfortably. There's no other way to ship it except by your port. Isn't that wonderful? Another item looks like a jet engine, but another example of what we're talking about that was built. This was the only one, not the only one, but one of the first in the last 3 years that was actually built by heater specialists Inc. at the port and loaded out. Crude oil, right now, kind of dead. Margins have disappeared, but last year we had something like, 270,000 tons of crude. I think it'll come back, but this is just an example of the capacity of crude oil tows. 445,000 barrels represented by those 2 barges, 260 trucks, less wear and tear off of our roads, to say the least. Truck staging area, we've talked about this before. With 1,000 trucks a day coming in and out of your port, it's absolutely critical that we have a staging area. That's what they took this land right here. This is the north entrance to the port. This is the staging area. Here's another shot of it. Jeff and I were trying to get some shots of trucks, but they're there at night, gone in the morning. That's what you want. But they do alleviate problems as far as congestion on our roadway. Installation specialists, I mentioned to you earlier, started out here. Now they have 4 different facilities exceeding 300,000 square feet, exceeding 350 jobs. Just an incredible success story. But just an example, your port has taken on a life of its own, if you will. Thanks to you and your help with a community development block grant, because those things are not a lot of money, but they're enough to make the project work sometimes. This rail spur, this is the previous one that was built, the yellow one. It shows the beneficial impact of having rail, truck, and barge for these companies. Truly a multimodal transportation facility, the only one that we have. Truck staging area, once again, REAP grant helped pay for this. 4 of our companies agreed to put in benches, park benches if you will. We had something like, I think Jeff put down, so far, they've walked 549 miles, and even I've walked a couple of those. Anyway, pretty neat. Next year, we've got another REAP grant in the process. We want to put lighting and landscaping along Main Parkway. That's really going to look nice when you drive into your port in the future. Now, major transformation of your main dock. And Jeff just did this on Friday, and I thought he did a neat job. Remember, here you have your 200-ton overhead traveling crane, the 38,000 square foot transit shed. In fact, when I went to work for the port in '73, my office was right there. Anyway, we're going to wipe all this out, folks, and here's what it's going to look like. $12 million project. It's underway right now. First project will go to the board in September, and that will be to build this building back in here. New rail.
Excuse me, Bob. What are you going to do with the free road system?
The foreign trade zone? Not a thing. Good to see you. My God, it's been a long time. This gal and I used to work together. Jesus, good to see you. Thank you, thank you. It's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
Oh, that's still there.
Still there. It's not going to go anywhere. We're just going to put the offices for it over in this new building. That's all.
Okay.
That's the story. That's the good news. Be back again if Robin keeps pushing me, I guess, in about 3-4 months. Right? Questions?
Bob, I mean, President Obama said it a couple of weeks ago about digging out the channels. Are we anywhere closer to getting the funding to go ahead and dig those channels?
Not today. We are getting closer as far as overcoming the critical backlog, as I said earlier. But right now, as broke as our country is, I'm afraid we're not going to see any money for the 12-foot channel for a while. But I think it's, I'm not going to lose hope. I still think it's going to.
That's critical.
You bet it is. Absolutely. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Bob. Do you know what agenda item you are? I can't find it.
I think we're like 18 or so. 18. RCB Bank.
Oh, okay, 18. If you would move up one item to item 18, payment requisition, construction fund, RCB Bank. Ms. Karen Keegley is here.
Well, I'm sorry that I don't have a PowerPoint presentation for transparency's sake, but I'm from the old school, so I have hard copies to pass out.
They all the same.
Yes, there's 2 different ones. We're going to call hogs?
Could we have one of each for
He wants to call
the
hogs.
record? Thank you.
Hey, that's for you. Huh? You can't tell me. It's a secret? Oh. First group of papers, do you want to talk about the actual courthouse would be, yeah, that page right there. Talking about, first group is our spreadsheet that I normally send you every month that breaks out the 1/6 sales tax and the use tax that goes back to the county after we take our bond payment and everything out of that. I believe that I gave you all the way to current from the beginning on these spreadsheets. So if you look at the top one, your last payment that I gave you, we had an excess that we sent back to the county of $1,326,668.94. That's what went back after we took our bond payment, and which would be the 2011 bond payment and also the 2010, because we're taking them both out of those payments. So after that, then we returned that to the county to use in any way that they needed to. If you'll notice that we've always had enough money to pay both of those out of your sales and use tax. There was only 3 times over the course of this that we were short just a little bit of money. We were short, but let me also say that we did keep around $55,000 in a fund just in case that happened. So we did have to draw out of that 3 different times, but other than that, you were fine, and we were able to return the excess to you of that much. I think you were short in March of 2011, April 2011, and May of 2012. Okay, and so other than that, now we have depleted the 2010 construction fund. So we're taking out of the 2011 that extra that the additional bonds that you did sell for that extra money. So we are now using that part of it, but the way I understand from BJ, that was just all one big pot of money. We had to keep it separate, you know, for our sake, but it's all big one pot of money. And if you'll notice, the next group of papers that say statement of asset at the top of them, in your construction fund, your 2011 911 construction fund, you have $1,267,694.86 that's available to use right now, up to date. I also wanted to point out that some of this is invested in like a repo from RCB Bank, and you have to date on that amount of money made $6,595.04 on that fund. Your 2011 fund, we have on your reserve part of it that we have to keep is $225,000. We keep that until the end, until your bonds are ready to pay off. We put that in a CD, a 5-year CD, because we're not going to be using it or drawing out of it because you've got plenty of money that you've already, you know, paid towards your bond, so you're fine there. So we don't use this money until the end. You've made $6,689.98 on that $225,000. It's a CD at RCB Bank. So I just wanted to point that out to you. You will be able to use that at maturity. In the bond fund, and that's where your bond payment comes out of, you've got $611,703 in that one, which that just sits there in a liquid fund waiting to pay bonds with. Excise tax is the next one, or the excise fund actually. It has $71,942 in it, but I will be returning most of that back to the county as your monthly excess back to you.
The 71,942.11.
It's going to come back.
All of it or most of it?
Most of it. I think there's just a little bit of income in there, so the biggest part of that will come back. Probably like $939 or something like that, I think. The next one is the $2011 bond fund. Is that what you have next?
Yes.
Okay, that's just the one that we'll go pay that 2011 bond with, so that's just sitting there to pay that. The next one is the revenue 1-cent sales tax fund. That's where we put the money first of all, and then we split it out into your, for your bond payment, both your bond payments and everything. I told you earlier that we had that $55,000 sitting there. It now has $39,000 in it because we borrowed from it a couple of times to make up the difference in the bond payment. So this is just sitting there. You can use this anytime you need to, actually, but it's sitting. But you'll have to use it to pay the bond. But that's why we keep it there, just in case for some reason it ever comes up short. The last one is the construction fund, and that of course is shown paid out. There's nothing left in that one for the 2010. Okay, you did have that invested part of the time in a CD that matured in January of this year, and the total income to date that you made on that one was $19,811.25, which I think in the interest rate environment that you were in, which it was really bad, worst I've ever seen it as far as interest rate, but you did manage for the 2010 to make $33,096.27 over the last couple of years, which I think taking doesn't sound like a lot, but in that interest rate environment and also taking big major withdrawals out of that account at millions of dollars a time, and so it has a declining balance, I think that making that money was just a good benefit for the county, you know, because it was real hard to make that kind of money. So, and that was all to date. So did you have any questions on what you have to spend, what's available is the $1.2 million. And
I don't on that, but I do have one comment. When we built this, you know, we were in a bad economy, we all knew that. But it also let us build something here that's worth a lot more than what we've spent on it. And that's one reason we did it when, you know, we put it out when we did, was because we could get so much more done here that we wouldn't, in today's economy where we're coming now, you know, we made a little bit on this, but we also saved a lot by building the building when we did. So.
you sure did. So I think you did a good job.
Thank you.
Then if there's no more questions on the bond issue itself, the 2010 or the courthouse and 911 center, we'll go on to the judgment. Did you want to cover that as well?
Yes, please.
Okay. You have some papers that say statement of asset. 32 million judgment. Looks like this.
No?
You said no? Oh,
Maybe I can move this out.
those, okay, those are them, right there. Sorry.
It's all right.
I thought, oh, Bob, I didn't want to ask. Okay, on the judgment, the first one is your bond fund for the judgment. You have $1,107,459.32 in that. And that is just, every time you make your monthly payment into that, it goes into this fund, and it's also what pays out your payments. You're paying your payments out of this fund. Now you had a payment 8/1 of $623,804, which come out of this $1,000,001. The next one is your reserve fund for the judgment. And that's, again, it's the same thing. You don't use that money until the end, until you get ready to pay this off. You have this invested in some CDs, certificates, and everything. You've made $11,936.22 on that so far. Still maintaining your $2 million that we put in there. The next page, next couple of pages are also the spreadsheet that I give you every month that shows how much money has gone into that. Your total payments into that is $1,723,781.56, and that's what you've sent me every month, and that's the total. Your total bond payment for this period will be, well, up until the end of the year, will be $1,263,271. So we're taking $180,467.33 out of what you send us to hold it in there to make the bond payment when it's due. And so then you have excess in there over what we're going to need for the bond of $460,510.28. So you're looking good. You're always making your payment. You're always making more than your payment. So you're going to have some excess in there. And that shows you what you've paid us, and we're just holding on to that. The very back page is actually a spreadsheet that we use that shows when your principal payment is due. You're not actually going to start making principal payments until August of 2014 is when the schedule is to start paying principal. That's when you're going to start paying that back. Up until this point, you're just making interest payments. The first one being capitalized too. So you're looking pretty good, you have some excess, you're always making what you need for the bond payment with that 1/3 sales tax, I guess it is.
Correction,
Any questions on that?
All right.
yes. We, the people, are paying that. They are not paying it. We, the people.
You're right, you're correct, that is true, we are paying that. I am too.
Okay, they didn't have any questions?
No questions on any of that? You guys are doing a good job. You're making your payments, doing a good job.
Could I have a hard copy of the notes, please?
Yes, I'll have to make it for you, so, okay?
You want to do that now? Or you want me to make?
We can take care of that for you.
They'll
Yeah,
make
we'll-
one of theirs, okay?
We'll make a
That'd
copy
be all right?
for anyone that would like one.
Okay.
See, we left off on, item 8, I'm sorry. Unfinished business, number 1, discussion possible action regarding follow-up of D911 address and establishment of accounts of Commissioner Helm.
Okay, Chairman, you two gave me the task of going back and looking at emergency management and addressing. Off of the emergency management, what he presented in his temporary funds or temporary budget, he presented a $164,442.11. That was for him and Shelley Epperson, the administrative assistant, and we had deemed her the addressing. And so what we did, we went to Scotty and Janet, if you could come on up, and is Teresa here? There you are, Teresa. And I don't know if Scotty's here or not. Scotty in the audience?
He's at training.
He's a trainer.
Days of training this week.
All right, let's start with Scotty's. On Scotty's, his department, we whittled it down to 99,900 and something dollars off of the 164,422.11. Gave y'all a couple pages. Teresa has some copies there. Teresa, if you have the other copy, another copy,
I didn't have
that
any.
copy right there. Can you have, Deanne, can you make a couple of copies of this? Because I'm gonna go ahead while we're talking. So we took a couple copies, one copy.
Yeah, let's have a copy.
Okay, so what we did, we looked at Scotty's, his pay, and we looked at his FICA. We also looked at his contributions to workers' comp. We looked at it for insurance. We looked at it for his payment into OPRAs, his payments in the deferred fund, and everything. Broke it all out so that we could just do Scott alone in his emergency management director. And so we broke his out, and as you'll see on the paper, it comes down to like $99,000 and some change for his department, alleviating almost $64,000 that we put back in to Ms. Epperson on addressing. Again, in looking at both of them, we're sharing fuel, sharing cell phones, sharing equipment, sharing office supplies, uniforms, whole bit. They were sharing everything. We broke it all out, so there's two established there's two for you. Establishing his budget. So you can see in personal services, $46,500. We went travel expenses, $1,000. And when maintenance and operation, we left that open right there because under his program, the state of Oklahoma will give him $25,000. So since we paid for the $27,395 for the Everbridge, we just went ahead and assigned him his $25,000 that he's getting from emergency management. Now, they don't give him 25,000 straight up, they give it to him in quarters, like 6,000, 6,000, 6,000. So he still has established amount of money. With Karen coming, and her showing where we're at on excess, was under the needs that he needed over there for the EOC to finish out his FF&E. We are asking that we take the 12,500. I couldn't make that decision, y'all have to help me on that one. On 12,500 would come out of the bond excess. It's because it is a bond payment, because of moving 911 over to the jail, and then doing the remodeling, and then equipping that, so that would be his FF&E expense. And so using the 12,500 out of the bond excess and paying for it on that part. That would give him what he needs for his account, as you see on this paper here, which is roughly about $99,000 from his 146 that he asked for under temporary appropriations. Better way to get that. Janet, not Janet, Teresa, did I miss anything on his?
No, I don't think
Here's,
so.
okay. Here's his temporary appropriations that Excise Board approved. It shows what he had asked for and everything. We've got it on there, an agenda item, to come back and correct this, so that it won't be as heavy as what it looks like at 164,000. Then we took Shelley and put her under 40, account 40 EMD. And we went back and took her base salary and everything she had and broke it down. As you can see there, it comes out to, with this one right here you have, and this paper here that you have, it comes out to $51,586.62 to fund her office under addressing. Y'all see that?
Say it again.
I'm looking at 59,203.02. That's what I,
Which one?
right here.
Yeah, go to this one. Yeah, this one.
No.
No.
Again, what copy of this one? Yeah, the 59,000 that Scott brought in, when we trimmed off a lot of the things that were doubled out, and they broke it out like he was doing 80%, she was doing 20, we worked down to the final numbers, where you see on this sheet here that you've got a copy of, out of general account, okay, again, general fund. This shows his expense and what his budget would be, which is he's listed out there. The thing that's different is the excess bond payment. Taking it out of excess bond, the 12,500 for his FF&E over at the jail, which is where he's going, and which they're working on. Then on the other part is for Miss Shelley, is to make her a department under emergency management. There is where we come into the hiccup. The hiccup is where you have two copies. You have a copy of 42-110 on E91 salaries. You see it there. 42 is a cash fund. And then we also have 41, which is a cash fund. These now are being sent to the Board of County Commissioners, which have our signatures on them, to be dispersed out. It's just like an appropriation. So if you'll go to this sheet right here, 42-110, E91 salaries. down to where you're taking these two right here. What you see? These two right here. Okay, these are cash funds. It's a copy of the same one. So where we did a little work on it, if you look at this one only,
The one with
With
more
all
writing
the-
at the bottom.
yeah, more writing at the bottom, okay? That's the one we're talking about on 42-110. Now, under cash funds, they can't be budgeted. So I was in a pickle then about how to budget cash funds. So I have a recommendation on that, but I want to explain everything so I can give you the recommendation. Under the, I bet I need to make a copy of this one too. Y'all got your budget?
It's in the office.
Okay, down here under emergency management. Dan, you're gonna be sharing it all. Here you go. Make a copy of this.
It's on my desk.
Bill, you didn't make any changes, did you?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going off of your stuff, okay?
Janet, while he's asking, the 42-110, that is cell phone.
No, that's
42
landline.
is hardline, isn't it?
Yes, landline. I have an account summary of the 911 accounts if you want to look at them, the appropriation ledgers.
Okay.
Robin, that's for you. This is an updated appropriation ledger for the 911 accounts.
Yeah, it ain't even finished yet. It's- Okay, the very second page is the emergency management. As you can see there, in emergency management, with his, what he presented in his budget plans and sent the bill, you can see where it comes out to $164,442.11. With us correcting his budget on what he claims now, that'll leave us about around $64,000, maybe about that, to where we can take that money that's left on his appropriations and take it and put it over to addressing, not affecting 42 or 41. But those, again, are cash funds, and those can't be budgeted. So it has to come to the commissioners, and then the commissioners would have to appropriate it out to the 911. Being said to that far, y'all be up till then? Okay, being it to that far, we come to 911. If you go down to 911 on your bills paper, you see 911 dispatching. That is 43, which is a general fund account. Okay, that's general fund. Out to the side, with the papers you have now from the account summary, which shows what the cash funds are for 41 and for 42. Those will have to be appropriated if we're not gonna budget those. If we budget it, I don't know how we do it, you have to give it a bill. But for where we're at on Janet, Miss Janet's office, you come down to her total. Her total is $1,016,401. Also on top of that is what it cost for us to fund one 911 employee. Tracy, you got that?
The total,
The salaries,
The total. Yeah, the whole
800,000.
800,000. So it gets, in that printout there, it costs.
Excuse me, is that the 827,354 number?
No, sir, it was 749,000 and we rounded up to 800,000.
This is,
$749.90.
do you have that, do you have this copy for them? Did you make copies of this one?
I don't think I made copies of it. I have it.
Deanne, come on up. Again.
Just the front.
Okay. Taking out monthly, just starting at monthly at its highest, and we did an average. We did an average of 2,700 per employee, right?
Yeah, well, the average is 3,000
Okay.
because of the supervisor being paid more than the 2,700. So that made the average 3,000.
Okay, the way we've got it now, under just taking out paying just for salaries only, we have under 43, which takes $27,800. That is general fund, okay, and that is what Bill's budgeted. When we come up to the 4,100, that is a cash fund, and there is Janet and 3 others that are paid out of that account, making a total of 13 employees plus Janet, right?
Right.
Okay, for a total of 14 employees or that are entitled to the 911 dispatcher. That comes out of the gross of 4,100, $14,058.33 for a total of $41,858.33. So to fund 14 people in total, Janet plus 13, Janet plus 13, each month is $41,858.33. Now that's just to pay the salary. That doesn't include health, dental, standard life, vision, Medicare's, deferred savings, Oprah's, all that. When you go down to paying all that, you come up to a month, and the unemployment, and workers' comp, you come up to $62,494 a month. That is the total.
62,494.
Yes, sir. This is Miss Janet and
13 others.
Robin Stout, is that right? Robin Stout? Kelly Stout, sorry. Kelly Stout, that is their numbers that they figured about how to pay this. And this was scattered out of 4 different accounts, Teresa,
Yes.
that you've now, that Kelly now has fixed, that we know where it's coming from, right?
We know where it's coming from, but it's still being currently, like this month's payroll is still coming from the general government instead of the cash.
Right, so we didn't change anything because it'll be a board decision, especially with the chairman to decide which direction we go because it is his budget. So when we come down to what it really takes to fund our employees, 14 employees in this budget, it takes $62,494 and some change. We got into that because talking about the trust and them borrowing or loaning or however do it, so we know exactly what the cost was. So we went through the whole thing to know exactly what the cost was. So $62,494 times 12 comes up to $750,000. Now if you look at her budget, on her budget, I heard she has $1,016,000 she's asking for. We've only put in out of the general fund, $360,000. Now, if we look at taking it out of 41 and 42, it doesn't give, and where you see capital outlay there, you see capital outlay on this one here? Capital outlay is really the cost of equipping FF&E for the 911 center, where the $411,000 for radios and, what was that for, radios and what that we approved?
$419,000 for the radios, and then $19,500 for the tower.
Okay, so when we approve that, and we have 1 year deferred, and we won't be starting the payment on that until next year, which is a little bit over 64,000 and some change. So
Here's my anticipated
what she
starting
has
cost.
there is that 651 to actually fund 911 and to fund it so that we can pay for the employees is $800,000. Under the $800,000 is to go in with the 43,000, with 43 being general fund. Bill, you still with me what I'm doing? Under the 43 would be come back to 41 and 42 cash funds, appropriate to this board, and then to move those funds by PO back to 911. Because it's a cash fund, can't be budgeted. And so that would give her to her budget, which I'm not going to ask if you got it, I'm just going to, on the spreadsheet that she showed us about where they're going to be, that with the idea of them hitting January the 9th of 2014 of being in operation.
The Motorola, I talked to them again, and December 20th, correct. If we get everything lined up in a timely manner, the furniture and the software that goes into the machines, we could open in December if everything lines up correctly.
The stars align and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the thing about it is that if we're going to do that, then we can't just budget for the next 4 months. We have to budget for the year because it's not determined unless Jim and you have made a decision that you can loan employees. I don't think we're there yet. In other words,
No decisions were made.
so we can't do that. So the main thing is if we can't loan them and we don't have it open to Oprah's, and there were 2 dispatchers, 3 dispatchers that have 15 years would lose all their county because they wouldn't be a county employee, how that figures in. We have to budget for an entire year. So you can see the project's deeper. I could take another hour, but I think all of you, my recommendation is we leave Scotty's budget like it stands on the 99,000 and some change for his budget. We go in and take amended appropriations to that, right, Teresa? How'd you want to do that?
Because right now he has the addressing included in that temp, so,
We want to break it out.
right.
So we want to go in and do Scotty at 99,000, some change like he's broken out there, take the 12,500 out of the excess bond. That'll allow him to keep his whole 25,000 from emergency management, turn over to Scotty. Also, Shelley under his code of 40, but he wouldn't be over. She reports to the board. She was hired by Mr. Thacker, so she's a board appointee. That she would report to the board. Her budget would be under a subheading under the 400, right, Teresa?
That's the determination that we need, if it's
Right.
going to be a general fund account or if it's going to be a cash
Right.
fund.
And so underneath that, we would establish that one for her budget. Then coming to the 911 center is to take all the funds, not out of the general fund, like we're doing now. We came up last year wondering where all the money was going through Mr. Turner's work here. We found out where a lot of it was going because we never intended, or we never knew. We had just put out what you see there from last year. We put out $348,785 to fund dispatching, yet dispatching is costing us, with all the employees, almost 2 times that, almost $800,000. So those two are to get those two situated, which is by doing a temporary appropriations that we see later on in the budget, on the agenda, and then come to Miss Janet is to go ahead and fund her employees that she has out of 141, 142, and 42D. Now 42D, we have to appropriate something in there because it's a general fund. And whatever amount we put, we've got it up here, that bill was put in, or that was sent under temporary appropriations. I have that too. Under temporary appropriations, as you see last year, the last year's budget was $348, $53,000 for part-time, $10,000 for mileage. This year's $360, no part-time, no mileage. Every officer and every department head needs to at least put $1 in each one of these categories so we can move money. We'll have to do that too. But for the county, or for the budget of the county, is to go ahead and go with Bill's number of $360, and then take the money out of the 41 and 42, which is done through this board and appropriated out by the chairman's signature to 41 and 42 back to 911. And then everything under the FF&E, equipping, building, the whole bit, as you can see with Ms. Karen's numbers, we have 1.2 million that is over there for it, and then we have the excess that's been returned to the county. Under the excess is 1.3, if you'll go through that. So we have the money to, or by what I see, again, by what I see, we have the money to fund the furniture, fixtures, and equipment, which is the bond saying that the Board of County Commissioners would build it and also equip it. So if we go that route, we can pay for her salaries, plus we can anticipate, should the trust get there, of them taking it over at a total of $800,000. Janet's here, Teresa's here. Any questions?
I'm gonna have some questions.
It's a lot of information.
It's a lot of information to take in at one time. I'd like to table this for a week and get a chance to go through it, see what there is here.
Okay, can we, is it just Miss Janet's, or even on the scales?
All of it. I'd like to go through it and see exactly where we're at.
So we won't do the agenda down in the agenda.
That is a motion.
I'll second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.
Hi.
Motion's been carried and tabled for 1 week.
By the way, I want to thank Teresa for her help, Miss Janet, also Scotty, and Kelly Stout. Excellent job. We met for 2 weeks, about 2 hours at a time, just to get this thing so we can present it. So they did an outstanding job.
It was a lot of work. In a moment, I'll find my agenda. Okay. Item number 2, unfinished business, open and award bid number 623, adjustable console furniture for the Rogers County Dispatch Center, Jan Hamilton. This item was tabled from August 12 and August 19, 2013. Director Hamilton.
The 911 Trust Authority board members did meet, and they do recommend OCI Furnitures.
Oh, wow, how much money?
They were at $39,147.44. They were the lowest bid, and they do meet our needs.
Is that your recommendation as well?
Yes, sir.
So, since we didn't take any action, what fund?
Right, that's what we're gonna have to,
That's where a lot of this.
we may have to wait until next week.
Which one?
I have concerns then because the furniture cannot be ordered without a purchase order. The radio vendor is waiting on the furniture to be installed so he can finish up, or even start his work.
Right.
So, it's a domino effect. So, we're going to wait until next week to discuss the funding mechanism for this bid.
The only way I know to do it is would be have to take it out of the general fund right now. And then whatever our decision is next week, to go back and pay the general fund from where we take it out, because we didn't take any action. Because under the temporary appropriations that was provided, there's nothing in there under capital outlay or M&O, because we had to put a dollar amount in there. So that's why we're gonna tidy up on the agenda down at the back, so that we could. So it would only have to come out of general fund now, which is 43. So you've got salaries coming out of general fund, and you've got equipment coming out of general fund. If we award it today, again, trying to get to the December idea, we award it today, and then as soon as we decide next week, we'd have to transfer that back. I would ask legal.
Mr. Thacker, if I can say something, since I'm from OCI,
Yeah.
if I can get a letter from you guys saying that you guys are waiting on funding, like we did before on the furniture, before I got one from the court clerk. She just wrote me a letter saying that it will be paid. If I can get a letter from you guys saying that, I'll go ahead and order.
Give me 1 second on that.
But, I mean, because we did do that before on the judge's furniture, and we were okay.
I need to be real clear what the question is. Is the question, can we take general fund taxpayer dollars and buy something for a non-county entity, that being the trust? Is that the question?
No, I hadn't done it like that. What I ask is that, because it's the funding, again, we're talking about meetings and deadlines, which the trust said, by them talking, maybe December we could open this. If we go ahead and pay for her items that have been bid in the general fund, can the 911 cash fund, or if we decide to fund it through the general fund, which I don't think we will, pay us back?
Isn't it the same question?
I need word to do. You said change the word to do.
I don't have an answer off the top of my head. What we're talking about is taking ad valorem funding and using it on a non-county entity, that being a trust.
Actually, I don't think it's a non-county entity. This was to build and equip 911 center. So I think twisting it to a non-county entity like the 911 trust, when we did this, it was to fund and equip, or build and equip. So that doesn't put it to the 911 trust.
It actually does. You're mixing your monies. Your bond money is to build and equip. That's your bond money.
Right.
Your general fund comes from ad valorem taxation, which is to fund county government. The 911 center right now, with the trust being established, is a separate political subdivision from the county. It is separate from the county by definition.
Correct.
So that's, unless I'm being real thick, we're talking about taking general fund money, not bond money. If you want to take money out of your bond money that you have, the bond money, the balance, very, very clear, it's build and equip. That you can do easily.
Thank you. So it can come out of the bond fund, if you guys are ready to move on. Means we wouldn't touch general fund, we wouldn't touch 41, we wouldn't touch 42, we wouldn't touch 43, we'd take it out of the excess bond.
If we've got enough in excess bond to do that.
$633,000.
What's the total on that?
37, you say?
$39,147.44.
Per console,
No.
No, for the,
that's the price for all five?
yes, sir.
You're in charge of that, what do you want to do?
We've got it in bond money. That's a DJ. It's still in the budget.
I don't know.
That's my problem.
Yeah, we have it from the bank sent over
To our treasurer, a total of $633,000.
and this is from this latest receipt
From the treasurer,
of $633,000 from the treasurer.
so we can take it out of bond if that's the motion. That's at our account here. That's not over at the bank, that's here. So move, take it out of bond.
And that is, and your motion is to take out $39,147.44?
Make a PO asking Janet to make a PO for that signed off by the chairman.
Do we have a motion
Yes,
and a second?
I say.
Okay. Call roll.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 3, open and award bid number 624, dispatch protocol, emergency medical dispatch, emergency fire dispatch, and emergency police dispatch for the Rogers County Consolidated Dispatch Center, 5 workstations, Janet Hamilton. This item was tabled from the August 12 and August 19, 2013. Director Hamilton.
Here again, the trust, 911 Trust Authority board members met, and they do recommend PowerPhone as their protocol vendor. And that bid is $54,917.50. They are not the lowest bid, they are not the highest bid, they're middle. PowerPhone does require the least amount of data input from the customer. And they can get the equipment to us, or the software to us in a timely manner, whereas one of the competitors could not.
So this is another case of, if you're going to try to get this thing opened up online, this is the one that can provide the equipment, where the other one wasn't able to do that.
One of the competitors, it required a lot of data input from us, and their projected delivery date was between 3 and 6 months. We don't have that kind of time, and nor do we have the time to do the data entry. The other competitor, their quote to us was $170-something thousand, and they're way out of our ballpark. Here, PowerPhone is the middle vendor.
PowerPhone's not gonna bother us to wait a week, am I correct?
We can wait with PowerPhone.
Okay, I'll make a motion to table this for 1 week and look for funding and make sure where we're at on our funding before we go this way.
Okay, I'll second that.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried to table for 1 week.
Okay, item number 9, zoning, public hearing with discussion and possible action for the request of zoning change from AG to RS60 for residential lot split approval and construction of 2 homes. The applicant Dake Properties Incorporated, the current zoning is AG, legal description reflected in your agenda. Mr. Director Larry Curtis.
Yes, Commissioners, this came before the Planning Commission on August the 20th, and it was approved 4 to 1 abstaining. It now comes before the board for final approval. It is a zoning change from agricultural to RS60, which is for a lot split from, it's currently 5 acres, it will be split down to 2.5 acres on each side, and have construction of 2 new homes.
Okay. This is a public hearing. I will ask, is anyone here that is opposed to this zoning change? Okay. And is the applicant here?
Do not see the applicant here.
Okay. And your recommendation?
Is to approve. The comprehensive plan for this area shows it to be for residential use, so this zoning change perfectly matches up to the comprehensive plan.
All right, any questions, gentlemen? And I'll make a motion to approve zoning item number 1.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 10, plats, public hearing with discussion and possible action on the request of a final plat approval for Twin Creeks at Stone Canyon Phase 4, applicant CABO Development Company, LLC, current zoning PUD RS20, underlining legal description is reflected in your agenda. Director Curtis.
Yes, Commissioners, this came before the Planning Commission several months ago for the preliminary plat came before the Planning Commission, I believe back in April. The final plat came before the Planning Commission back in, I believe, last month in July. And the Planning Commission approved that final plat, and has since the final out of that plat has commenced and been completed. All bonds are in place, all items are in place. The final thing that needs to be received from my office is, I believe, a letter from the road foreman for that district, which is District 2. And that's where it stands now.
Okay, this is also a public hearing. Is the applicant here?
Yes, represented by Kellogg Engineering.
Okay. Do you have anything you want to add?
No, sir.
Brian, all the seeding done in the ditches and the culverts are right? Okay, so Alan, did you lay eyes on all that being finished now?
Right over here's my letter.
Okay, and then Larry, you have the bonds for the repair of the subdivision
Yeah,
for the next 2 years?
which I have presented to the clerk's office, and they have in their hand, along with the 3 copies that need to be signed by the board today.
Okay. So Alan, is the roads up to standard?
Yes, sir.
And they're acceptable?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, since it,
Okay.
oh, go ahead.
Can you present the letter? Chairman, with the being meeting requirements of subdivision regulations and also our roads, I submitted a letter on behalf of the board, on behalf of District 2 to the board saying that Stone Canyon Twin Creeks Phase 4 is correct.
Okay, and since it's a public hearing, we always ask, are there anyone, or is anyone here that is opposed?
I'm gonna pose that question.
Do I?
I have a question, I'm not,
You have a question? Okay.
I just wanted to know who paid for the roads we put in for this phase.
That would be the CABO, right?
I'm sorry,
CABO, the name of the company, or subsidiary, so it's privately owned.
Okay, thank you.
But it's being dedicated to the public.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Okay, down to item 14, utility permits, rural water district number 3. Rogers County Board to cross county highway or local road north 191st East Avenue, approximately .09 miles of North State Highway 20 and North 191st East Avenue Junction, and further described as 800 feet west and 500 feet north of the southeast corner of Section 1, Township 21 North, Range 14 East, Rogers County. Commissioner Helm.
Larry, is everything up to date on the utility requirements for this
Yes.
Rogers County District 3 Water District?
Right, and as being an entity, therefore, bonds and other things are not a requirement. And so therefore, the application along with the engineer drawings that are provided do meet our requirements, and I make a recommendation for approval.
So moved.
Second.
Commissioner Delozer, seconded.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 2, Oklahoma Natural Gas Company Board to cross County Highway Local Road East Hickory Meadow Drive, approximately 1 mile north and 4.6 miles east of State Highway 20 and US Highway 169 Junction, further described as 235 feet north and 510 feet east of the southwest corner of Section 32, Township 22 North, Range 15 East, Rogers County. Commissioner Helm.
Larry, does this one meet all the requirements of utility permit? Everything in place? I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Do we have anything under item 15?
Yes, salaries for August.
Salaries only?
Salaries only.
Okay, item number 1, salaries, August 2013. Do we have any terminations?
Termination letters.
What are these?
New hires.
Oh, and new hires. Okay, was everything in order with the terminations and,
Yes.
okay? Make a motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 16, blanket purchase orders. Do we have item 1 or only?
We have one only.
Okay.
Sheriff to PHS Mobile X-ray for $600. Sheriff's Office to St. Francis Outreach Services, $1,200. Sheriff's Office to Medical Compliance Specialty for $400. Sheriff's to Westwood Pharmacy for $6,000. Sheriff's Office to Correctional Dental Services for $2,000. Sheriff's Office to Froman Oil for $1,000. Sheriff's to Farmer Brothers Coffee for $300. Sheriff's Office to Warehouse Market for $260. Sheriff's to Bimbo Bakeries for $1,365. Sheriff's Office to U.S. Foods for $825. Sheriff's Office to Performance Food Group for $6,000. Sheriff's Office to Cisco Foods for $3,500. Sheriff's Office to Comdata MasterCard for $18,000. That's for unleaded fuel. Sheriff's Office to Speedy Lube for $500. Sheriff's Office to O'Reilly Automotive Stores for $500. Sheriff's Office to Rogers County District 1 for unleaded fuel, $3,000. District 3 to RNS Auto Parts, $500. District 3 to American Waste Control for the yard dumpster at Inola, $690. Emergency Management to Comdata for fuel, $200. Emergency Management to Froman for $300. Emergency Management to Northeast Technology Center for $300. That's all.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 17, grants, discussion and possible action regarding the acceptance of contract award in the amount of $199,950, 15603 CDBG 13 Rural Water Number 3 Waterline Project, and authorize the chairman to electronically sign the contract on OK grants. Mr. Andy Armstrong.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir.
Back in April or early May, you submitted an application to the Oklahoma Department of Commerce for a project for Rural Water District Number 3. The intent of the project was to pave, or not pave, to construct the water transmission line about 1.5 miles long on the old State Highway 88 right-of-way. This award is for that project. So our recommendation is that you accept the grant and authorize the chairman to electronically sign for the grant.
Questions or discussion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
Motion's been carried and approved.
Thank you, Mr. Armstrong. We've already covered item 18. Item number 19, agenda items. Number 1, update by BKL Incorporated and Twinco regarding the courthouse and 911 center projects. Mr. Fay?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
We are dropping ceiling tile today in the 911 center. Last week we got the UPS system that bridges from power loss to whenever the generator kicks on certified, and it's up and running. We're installing some ceramic tile. We've completed the weir and the block work around the weir, so it's progressing on schedule.
Any questions for Mr. Fay?
About percentage completion.
Percentage completion, right now we're about 72%. Point.
Item number 2, discussion and possible action regarding Cox Commercial Services Agreement between 911 and on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, Director Hamilton.
This is an agreement with Cox Cable to run a IP fiber run from the 911 dispatch center back to the courthouse. The purpose that this will serve is to be the link between the sheriff's office and the dispatch center to run the CAD product. The trust authority board members have agreed upon, instead of purchasing a CAD product, we will continue on with songs, and the cost to us is minimal compared to a brand new purchase of a CAD product. And this will provide the link to bring that CAD product to the dispatch center. And it'll also provide a backbone for the Presidio equipment as a backup facility if the courthouse phone system should go out of service.
Okay, and this is a monthly reoccurring fee, correct?
Yes, sir, it is, and that the monthly cost is $1,160.
There it is. Okay, any questions? You have a question?
Where are you gonna take it from?
This has been waiting on us to get approval. It is work that needs to start immediately, so they can do the work in conjunction with the run going to the dispatch center.
This isn't only for the 911, this is also for redundancy to the courthouse. Am I
Correct, that's correct.
To, in case the phones were to go out, this would keep the courthouse running on phones. It's not, it's trying to keep it from being billed out. This is only for the 911 center. This is a redundancy issue. There's a lot of issues with this that this will help not only the 911, and the 911 part of this is the SOMs.
The songs, yes, sir, that's correct.
Being able to keep the SOMs, but the redundancy for the courthouse to keep, in case we were to lose our phone system, it would be a backup for the phone system. That's why we brought it to the board, was to see how interested you all are in this.
With the $14,000 a year contract, that has to be appropriated, usually out of M&O, since we didn't take any action on it. How do we get that going? Where do you want to take it? Because it's a monthly, and you want to start, you need to start this.
Yes, it's a week delayed as it is.
Make a motion to take it for 6 months out of the bond, excess bond, until the 6 months is up, and then take it out after we get appropriations all fixed, and your budget is approved, then we can go back to change.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thacker,
No.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Okay, we have covered item number 3. Number 4, open and award bid number 625 for water storage tanks, Sheriff's Office. Mr. Nelson.
Due to some changes in what the bid said in the specifications, Under Sheriff Sappington has requested that we reject all bids and rebid it, because it's not, what's out there is what number one, so.
Okay. And so the bids will not be opened.
That's correct.
And the recommendation is to reject all bids and rebid, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll make a motion to that effect.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.
Aye.
Motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 5, Voice Products Service LLC General Maintenance Agreement. Director Hamilton. Won't you just stay up here?
My road companions would appreciate that. The Voice Products Service has an 11-month maintenance agreement. The Sheriff's Office has been paying this maintenance agreement, and it needs to be paid. The voice recording has been turned over to the 911 Trust Authority. We need to do the maintenance agreement. Right now, there is no maintenance, and I do have work that the vendor needs to perform.
How much is the agreement?
For the remainder of the fiscal year, it's $1,310.39
Total?
total.
We can pay that out of 142.
Yes, sir, we can.
There is money in that.
Yeah. Motion to approve.
And the motion is to pay out of Fund
I
142.
think it's 142. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.
Aye.
Motion's been carried and approved.
So just one copy to sign.
Janet, do you know if there's only one copy?
Yes, there's only one copy of the maintenance agreement.
Okay.
Thank you.
Item number 6, Voice Products Service LLC, Mira 4 Recording System Additions. Director Hamilton.
This is the cost to move the logging recorder from the Sheriff's Office to the new dispatch center. You'll see some cost in that itemized list. The Annie Alley software and the installation of Annie Alley. We are currently receiving that over at the Sheriff's Office, and when I inquired, it is something that they have to reinstall so the figures are accurate. To move the logging recorder will cost $5,200.
Okay, this is something that doesn't have to be taken care of today.
That's correct.
I'll make a motion to table this, and let's get this funding under control. See exactly where we're gonna take this money from.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.
Aye.
Motion's been carried to table 1 week.
Okay. Item number 7, State of Oklahoma Office of Juvenile Affairs, Detention Transportation Claim, Rogers County Commissioners Acknowledgement Only. What is this? What? Why acknowledgement only? Anybody know?
See?
Not either. So acknowledged. Item number 8, discussion possible action regarding Rogers County fiscal year 2013-2014 budget. Mr. Bill Turner, budget maker and deputy.
Could you back up just for a second?
We can.
Is this just an acknowledgement, or is this a claim that needs to be?
That's just that's how much money we get back from the state. We just acknowledge.
So it is just an acknowledgement? Okay, good.
Still acknowledged. Mr. Bill Turner.
I think all of you have information I've sent to you. We've got to the point of coming up with our total amounts of budget available. If you've got that sheet, I don't know if everybody has that or not, but last year our budget was roughly $18,558,000 for total general fund. We actually collected $25,197,000. That's due to a lot of different things that weren't in the original budget that got added as we go along. Courthouse salary reimbursement is one of the big items, of course. This year, based on, I guess the first thing to talk about there is our carryover this year was $1,739,000 compared to $2,297,000. So you can see we're over $500,000 down from what we had last year on carryover. Just means that more of the budget was spent. And of course, that goes into making up our total. So what we have available at this point in time, even though ad valorem tax is up about $225,000 or so, we're still looking at about $18,959,774.16 as our total general fund budget. And of that, $10,647,000 is the regular general fund, and $8,312,000 is our sales tax money. That's it. That's the easy number. Then we get to request, and what we have there is the last year of the $18,546,000, $10,689,000 was our original budget for the general fund portion other than 1 cent. This year, those requests are $12,897,000. That's our issue really right there. The sales tax monies, we were at $7,857,000 last year. We're at $8,312,000 this year. So we're fine on that side of it. It's on the general fund side that we have the problems. We're roughly $2,250,000 short of appropriations or available appropriations to make those coverages.
On what they ask for.
What they ask for. So that's where our issue is what we're going to do. And I don't know if you plan on having a meeting with the officers and try to go through this again, or what you want to do in the next step.
Yeah, I think we should meet with everyone. But just to clarify, when you say short, like Commissioner Delozier said, the budget is not short, it is short compared to what people are requesting.
Right.
Requested, so they have to understand that,
roughly our
there has to
requests
be cuts
are
made.
up that kind of a figure. Roughly that $2,250,000 is what our requests are up across the board with all the departments. Exactly.
So Bill, did any of the elected officials send you in for their furniture they bought or on the phones that they bought? Did they go ahead and cut that out, or did they go ahead and do their budget on top of what they did last year?
What I've got is their request, their estimate needs that they turned in, and some of them have that in, some do not, so it's there. Yeah.
So there's some, my favorite word, wiggle room there. And then just covering the $651,000
Sure.
on 911 would be another wiggle room, so that works out.
Exactly. If that can go away from general fund, then that would be a big help, absolutely.
Okay.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Turner at this point?
No, I'm gonna have some questions, but I'll get hold of you.
Okay.
Chairman, if we're sending a letter around, have Mr. Turner be here for the visit with the elected officials and department heads. I'd like for you to send a letter out saying that if you bought furniture and your phone, what you paid for your phones, that would be on there so that we would see what was over budgeted because of furniture being bought.
Yeah, I get that.
Do we want to meet individually with all of the officials and one at a time and go through it, or do we want to do it in a meeting? I'd like to do it individually, so we can kind of see, I mean, if you're interested, I'm interested in doing that.
It makes me no difference, public or individual.
Well, I mean, anybody's welcome to come with them, but I mean, I'd like to talk to them,
Well, I understand, you're talking about individual commissioners.
right, meet in my office and go through what they're doing. We can't, all three of us can't sit in a meeting unless we have an agenda for it. But separately, we can talk to, we can call them in and talk to them and find out what their budget needs to really be and see where we have some wiggle room, so.
I like it like we did last year. I like it that we bring them all in here so that everybody hears whatever the elected officials saying. A lot of people, there's a scrimmage out there of elected officials talking about budget board. This way they can hear from each other where their wiggle room was and then why they accelerated their budget so high after paying for furniture and telephones. And then we can see, are you willing to cut that?
Set a time.
Would you like to set a meeting date for that, Commissioner Helm?
Bill, when can you be here? Because we might as well mark it as you go.
Sure.
I mean, instead of coming back and going, they said this, that you said that.
Hey, I'm just about ready whenever you are. set a date and we'll work around that.
You wanna do a special meeting, or do you wanna do it on top of our regular meeting? I
Still a
said
special
Special
meeting.
meeting.
It'll take a while.
What are you guys free?
Let's see.
Between midnight and 6.
There you go. Can you be here at 2 in the morning? We'll notify security, so everybody's in.
I'd say you said it, I'll be here.
Or we'll go to Walmart and shop. Either way.
How about, let's see, next week? Or you gonna do it this week?
Let's do it next week on the 4th. 4th of September
4th.
at 9 o'clock.
That Wednesday?
That's when we make, yes, sir.
Wednesday, September the 4th, I can do that.
We may be here all day.
Sounds good. That way we'll hear from each one.
All right,
That's what we'll do. Thank you, gentlemen.
okay, thank you.
Do you need a motion?
I'll make a motion that we set the budget meeting at 9 o'clock on the 4th right here with all of the department heads.
Elected.
Well, it's department heads and unelected, yes.
Thank you, Mr. Turner.
That's a motion.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.
Aye.
Motion's been carried and approved to have a special meeting September 4th at 9 a.m.
Item number 9, discussion and possible action regarding contract with DT Specialized Services Incorporated, bid number 00110 for the Rogers County existing courthouse demolition. Are they here?
Thought they were here earlier. He's probably not looking at fence.
Okay, we'll move on if they're here and come back. And so no action at this time on item number 9. Number 10.
Teresa has something to say.
Oh, you have something?
They do have their contract submitted and Mr. Risky has reviewed it.
Okay. Is that all we were needing?
Yes.
They work very diligently to get all their paperwork in, their insurance, bonds, contracts. They did an extraordinarily fast job of getting that in, and I signed off on it.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to that then. We have a that would take board action to enter into a contract with DT Services or DT Specialized Services.
Make a motion, we have the chairman sign the contract and tell him to proceed ASAP.
I have one question. Do you have any recourse if they can't, I mean, what day do we want them to start?
Tomorrow.
Okay, tomorrow. I mean, let's give them a deadline if they will start by, because I don't want to mess around with them.
I think they're ready to start.
I think they have at least a 10-day waiting period by law, and they have several permits that they have to acquire before they can do it, so.
Right.
I think they're wanting to start. What I meant was the fencing.
I think they're ready to start quick as
They can start the fencing and stuff and do that without permits.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.
Aye.
Motion's been carried and approved.
I'll sign those after. Okay, item number 10, discussion on the Presidio Voice and Network Systems jail phone purchase order number 3001171 fiscal year 2012-2013, warrant number 1327. Commissioner Helm.
Chairman and Commissioner, I put this on because Christine, our administrative assistant, has been doing emails back and forth between the jail. There seems to be a question about some things, so instead of just emailing each one, because we can't, I said, put it on the agenda and we'll deal with it. So Christine.
I'll provide you with emails back and forth with myself and jail administrator. And I think that Brett can probably speak more clearly on this because he's been in on the meetings between myself and John Sappington and Commissioner Thacker.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Just to refresh everyone's memory, on April 25th of 2012, myself and Presidio and Christine set up 30-minute meetings with each office, and this was to go over the needs for their telephone and data network of the new courthouse. At that time, the sheriff's office ordered 18 phones for the jail and 25 phones for the existing building. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. 18 phones for the new courthouse and 25 phones for the jail. I want to say March of this year, the sheriff's office decided that they didn't want to update their telephones in the jail. But the purchase has already been made, the contract had already been signed, and our service agreement had already been based on the number of phones that we had purchased. Presidio stated they could return the phones, but there would be a stocking fee charge of 20%. The service agreement would be null and void, and we'd have to start over, thus increasing the price of our existing service contract. Myself, Commissioner Delosier, sat down with John and Nathan Parks, the IT person for the sheriff's office, kind of discussed the situation, and I thought we kind of came to agreement that we're just going to keep the phones, use them where we could, because we are going to use 9 phones at the 911 center. I believe there's 4 phones going to the EOC, so that takes up a lot of the extra order of the phones. And we've put in 2 wireless access points in the sheriff's office, so I've always kind of looked at it, the money's all coming out of the same pot, and I'm here to help everybody I can with their technology needs. And it wasn't so much of a penalty against the sheriff's office for changing their mind at the last minute. It's just like, it is what it is, let's work together and move forward. And so we've always tried to take those phones and give them for new needs. Like I said, the 911 center and the EOC are going to benefit from that as well. Any questions?
What are we talking about here? What's the issue with?
The issue is that they're wanting general government now to reimburse their purchase, to refund the jail for that purchase. Can I speak?
Yeah, come on up.
What it basically comes down to is that the jail fund cut a check for close to $9,000 for equipment that we didn't receive any of. So we were questioning getting that money back or getting the equipment that we paid for on it.
Was this a purchase order generated by the jail?
Yes,
Why didn't you get your phones?
that was my question.
Because the sheriff's office at the time said they did not want to go with the Presidio system in the jail. That was earlier this year, I want to say March, when they made that decision.
Yeah, just me, but no, I don't think so. We have a discussion on that. Purchase order was cut in fiscal year 2012-2013. The warrant was 1327, so it's been paid. Plus, that will affect our service agreement.
It's going to affect our service agreement, and I understand where Amanda's coming from, whereas the jail doesn't have brand new handsets. The handsets are not that expensive. We're talking $180 for a handset. Where they always get you, and I've been doing this long enough, they sell you the hardware cheap. It's the service agreements where they make their money. And so once we start buying in bulk, our service agreement gets lower. So if we minus out 25 phones, we lose a lot of savings by we return those phones. So John Sappington, Commissioner Delosier, myself, and Nathan Parks kind of came to an agreement. Let's just keep it and move it forward. And like I said, the jail is going to benefit from this new system, especially with the EOC, because we're going to be putting 3 phones over there, and because of that, we're going to have to replace an old Dell switch in the jail and replace it with a Cisco switch. So they're going to be getting an $8,000 piece of equipment that's going to make their network run so much faster, but they're really not going to see any cost out of that. It's going to be part of the EOC, if that makes sense.
So was it John's agreement to do that?
That's what we talked about.
I thought we all kind of came to agreement and
That we would just, use the phones wherever, because all the funds come from the same place.
like I said, we gave 9 to 911. That's 9 phones that 911 is not going to have to pay for. That's part of the licensing agreements that under our umbrella agreement. 3 to the EOC.
And they get a switch?
And they get a brand new switch that is a high dollar, one of the best in the industry switches.
To help their system.
And like I said, I always try to help people. We've been trying to get their network up and running in the new courthouse, and I put 2 wireless access points in there office, because it's kind of an L shape, so we had to put 2, and those are $750 a piece. And that wasn't accounted for, you know, that wasn't, the sheriff's office did not pay for that, but they have them now. Trying to make everybody happy, feel like they got their money's worth.
That's 12 phones, where did the other 13 go?
Right now, I've got 2 boxes of phones. There's probably about 15 phones in my office that we use as needed, because we've given some to the judges, and CASA got some. So they're there to help people out.
Okay, gentlemen, what do you want to do with this? I don't know what action. Are you asking us to take some action here?
I'm not asking for any action. I'm just giving you the background because I was involved in the research.
So the agreement that you and Danny and John agreed to in March is still the same agreement?
That's where I kind of thought we were. I thought it was a dead issue after that.
Actually, I don't believe it was really ever an agreement, because an agreement would have come here. But it was talked about, everything, you know, John seemed fine with it. He's not here right now, so we can't get his opinion. But in my opinion, we were just gonna use it throughout the courthouse and any place else it needed to be, and that was it. The money all comes from the same place.
Right. I thought it was just a dead issue.
There is.
No, you put it on the agenda. What do you want to do with it?
For me, is to leave it with the agreement that was reached by Commissioner Delozer, Brett, and John Sappington.
Okay.
Christine will not be harassed by this anymore.
No action taken. Item number 11, resolution for disposing of equipment, District 3, a portable 30-gallon Campbell air compressor Kohler engine mounted on a 1994 Ford 1-ton. Serial number and D numbers are reflected in your agenda. This is to be sold at the McAllister auction on September the 21st, 2013, and if we could, do the other one with it. Resolution for disposing of equipment, District 3, a 1994 Ford 1-ton flatbed that has a Campbell air compressor mounted on the bed. Serial number and D numbers are reflected in your agenda. This is also to be sold, auction September 21st, 2013. This is just
a different air compressor?
No, it's the same air compressor. We just want to be very clear that the compressor's mounted on the truck, and we want to sell them both. And so I just wanted that very clear. I'll make a motion to approve item 11 and 12.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer.
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item 13, discussion and possible action regarding a lease purchase agreement and related paperwork. Bid number 613, in-car MTD and cameras for Sheriff's Department, awarded May 28th, 2013 to Coban Technologies Incorporated. Mr. Nelson.
Commissioners, under Sheriff Sappington, I discussed this with him, and they're having a little bit of difficulty in some of the financing. He asked, and he's not going to be here, he asked that we just table this for 1 week.
Okay. Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer.
Aye.
Helm. Motion's been carried and tabled for 1 week.
Item number 14, collection of utility permit fees for the months of July and August 2013. Director Curtis.
Yes, Commissioners. With the advice given and following the standard procedures of other counties that in regards to utility permits, our office prepares a monthly statement of the collections that we have made over the past. This is actually, we didn't have many for the end of July, so we're doing this for July and August. So what's presented to you is a breakdown of the amount and fees that we've collected for utility permits, and includes a copy of our escrow account. And we currently only have 1 escrow account.
Questions, discussion?
What's BCI Allegiance LLC?
That is the subcontract company that's putting in a fiber line across the southern part of the county. It's all in District 3.
Yes, it is.
Is it working well for you?
Yes, is what it is time consuming, is what I want to say. But overall, the system it is functioning well. It is taking time though to prepare and keep track of.
Okay. So acknowledged. Item number 15, reimbursement and resolution 2014-29 to deposit funds of $5,427 into general fund M&O number 20-200 for Rogers County District 3. Okay, this is an insurance reimbursement. This on our claim out in the Vintage, wasn't it, Robin? You don't know?
Debbie said this was generated out of the courthouse. She never saw it.
Yes, it's just an insurance check.
Okay.
Insurance reimbursement?
Yes.
Numbers.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
This goes in the general fund.
Item number 16, reimbursement and resolution number 2014-30 to deposit funds of $2,826.72 into 1 cent sales tax fund M&O number 82 ST 200 for Rogers County District 2. Commissioner Helm.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Item number 17, reimbursement and resolution 2014-31 to deposit funds of $1,531.96 into 1 cent sales tax M&O 82 ST 200 for Rogers County District 2. Commissioner Helm.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Number 18, reimbursement and resolution number 2014-03 to deposit, excuse me, to deposit funds of $1,158.56 into 1 cent sales tax M&O 81 ST 200 for Rogers County District 1. Commissioner Delozer.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm,
Aye.
motion's been carried and approved.
Have some of the top ones only. Item number 19, set hearing for notice of appeal, applicant Johnny L. Neely. The present zoning is residential RT and the zoning requested is C4. The present use of property is mobile homes, RVs, and the use after zoning is recreational vehicles, long-term, no longer than 180 days. The property involved is located, and the legal is reflected in your agenda. It contains 60 acres, more or less, according to the U.S. government survey. Director Curtis.
Yes, Commissioners, this agenda item came before the Planning Commission earlier part of this month and was denied by the Planning Commission pursuant to the regulations of the City of Claremore, Rogers County Metropolitan Area zoning ordinance. It is the applicant's lawful right to appeal to the Board of County Commissioners by appealing to the County Clerk's office within a 15-day period. And then at that time, it is placed on the agenda to place a date in the future for the appeal. And that is all that is before you today.
Do you have a recommended?
I believe the last time we did this was 2 weeks out.
2 weeks out from today?
Correct.
What date is that?
It's
Teresa says it's the 10th.
No, let's see, because it's Thursday and Tuesday, yeah.
Be the
The
9th.
9th.
Okay.
It's the 9th.
Make a motion to set the appeal for 9 a.m. on the 9th of September.
Second.
Thacker,
Aye.
Lozier,
Aye.
Helm.
Aye.
Motion's been carried to set the appeal at 9 a.m. on September 9th.
Okay. Item number 20, announcements regarding county events and status updates for comments and discussion from county departments and elected officials as follows. 911 Administrator, Director Hamilton.
I have a meeting tomorrow with BKL and Plinco, Motorola, and the tower vendor, reference grounding issues, and then applicant reviews the rest of the week.
Okay. Questions? Assessor?
Okay.
Building and Operations Maintenance. Okay, is that working? County Clerk?
Monday is a holiday, so the next Board of County Commissioners meeting will be September 3rd, which is a Tuesday. And agenda items should be in the same time as always on Thursday before noon.
Okay. Court Clerk? Yes, ma'am.
I wanted to let the board know that we have a jury term beginning September 9th. It's now approximately 350 jury terms. I've heard rumors that parking may be a situation, so I just wanted to make you all aware.
It's not a rumor.
I don't know where they're gonna park, but I wanted to let you all know we'll have a bunch of people in that day.
Okay, District Attorney's Office.
Nothing additional.
Election Board.
You wanted the percentages, it was 7.4% turned out to vote on the last election.
Better than 7.3.
It's better than the 6% that we did, 6.4% we had last time.
Okay. Anything else? Thank you. Emergency Management, Needs and Training, Human Resources. Director Bentley.
Today starts the first day for us to use a multi-purpose room. Renetta Harrison from Rogers County Health Department's going to come in and teach a yoga class, and we're just going to get started on our wellness for our employees.
All right, thank you. IT?
Nothing additional, sir.
Planning Commission? Mr. Curtis?
Just to give the Board of Commissioners an update, on last Tuesday, we had a Board of Adjustment meeting. The Board of Adjustment approved a variance for a setback requirement from 30 feet to 15 feet. They also approved the Justice Tiowa application for their new gymnasium. That was approved with some safety guards in place. And they also approved a billboard on the south side of the county.
Okay.
That's all.
Judicial? OSU Extension?
Nothing new at this time.
Thank you. Sheriff's Office?
We're good.
And the Treasurer's Office. Okay. Item number 21, do we have an item 21? No. Item number 22, public comments and responses from board members. Maybe they didn't hear me.
What?
Any public comments?
Oh, I have some questions, I'm sorry. I thought maybe some other
You're
people
gonna
did.
have to pay attention.
Okay, first of all, I wanted to know if you could clarify for me the benefit of separating the 911 funds in each account. And also with the potential of moving employees or renting, and I know that you guys haven't determined this, but you did discuss what may happen when you move over all of their responsibility, funding responsibility to the center in January or December. I'm just curious how you can allocate the cash fund accounts or the money collected through the sale, or the tax on the landlines and cellular phone lines to fund the 911 center if it is in fact a separate entity of Rogers County, and as Mr. Iskey discussed earlier.
Who wants to take that?
The task was given to me to go out and try to separate all this. The cash fund is not anything we can budget, so therefore I brought it to the board to have them look at the cash fund, how they want to do it. Since it is an appropriations that's dictated to the Board of County Commissioners, it would have to come to the board and then separated out by a PO. That's part of our ongoing discussion on what we want to do there. The money that's in 43, which is money that is from the general fund, can be budgeted. So it's a determination that we'll have next week on which way direction we want to go. But that was the task given, and I made a recommendation of how to do it. The cash fund, I can't budget it. We get it every month, just like T-Highway. So it's a fund that's not budgeted, but it is collected because the Board of County Commissioners, or because of the voted people, to the Board of County Commissioners to fund the 911 center, which is what the ballot reads, in building and equipment, which would be the FF&E.
Okay, I understand that, but I guess my question is, if that's in fact the funding you receive from the fee, so everyone understands, the fee that's on their cell phone bill or their landline bill, that goes to that cash account, is that correct?
Say that again.
That fee goes into to those cash accounts,
That's a
correct?
cash fee.
Okay, so once the trust authority takes over ownership of the building and whatever happens with the employees, how are you going to get that money to fund
By a PO.
the trust? So you're going to be able to directly just PO it to them?
The recommendation was the chairman to make a PO. The requesting officer would be 911 director. She would request what she needed. She'd make a PO for it. The chairman would sign off, or he would cut it, or he would ask for explanation.
Okay, and my second question is on the bond proceeds. You guys approved, I think it was agenda item number 5, for $1,300 to take out of the bond, but before approving it, you guys said that it was for both the county and the 911 center. So I was curious if that fell under the requirements of the bond as far as the courthouse project, since I believe that project was closed.
Number 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I didn't make a motion, but it is out of Fund 42. 42 is the hard line, which is a cash fee. Again, not a budgeted item. It's done by addressing, which is a cash fee fund that is delivered to the Board of County Commissioners for use.
I'm sorry, I guess that's my mistake. So it was at number 2 then? The Cox the commercial services, I apologize, wrong item. Okay, so that's the one I'm talking about that was paid, that's gonna serve 2 purposes out of the bond.
Because it was out of the fact of her needing for her to keep going forward, so that she could make all these arrangements and everything. My motion was for the next 6 months. We may not have to do it for 6 months, but to keep it going forward, we know that is a bond issue, which is part of the equipment. So that's why I made the motion. It's an equipping piece, which would be a part of the FF&E.
And it may not be something we fund out of there for 6 months. You know, we're gonna look pretty quick. A lot of this was thrown today, and we have to fund a lot of this stuff, but in my opinion, that is something that we need to look at to see where that needs to be funded out of. That has to be done right away, because when we move the voice recorder over, when we move over there to get the songs, we have to have that to be able to do it.
Okay. Now
And I voted no because I thought it should come out of general fund, so.
Well, and I think that's probably what's gonna happen, but this just keeps it going until we can get it changed. It can be funded out of there because it's for equipment, and that's what that accounts for.
Okay, and so back to my original question, the benefit to the county by separating these different issues is, what is the benefit? By separating out the 911 and the $800,000 that you're gonna need to pay for the employees' benefits and salaries, what is the benefit to Rogers County if ultimately you're going to take the cash funds and funnel it back into that center?
What's the benefit? I don't get your gist.
Eventually, the entities that use 911 will have to pay. I mean, that's a given, but until they can do that and get that organized in a fashion where they're able to pay in monthly or quarterly or however they pay, it has to be funded. And the county will, we'll be the largest user with the sheriff's department just to begin with, so we'll have to pay the county portion of it, but it is a separate entity. The trust authority, the goal is that they take over the ownership and the leading of that facility. But until then, we have to keep it going.
Okay, and can the fee accounts be used for any other purpose besides funding 911 services?
That's a legal question.
Are you talking about the fees that are collected under 911?
Yes, sir.
Excellent question. The fees that are generated are statutory defined fees, and they establish what they can be used for, and we've done that a number of times up here, and I think that's what they're trying to make sure is that those fees are used just for what they're statutorily prescribed for.
Okay, so if the 911 center was to gain enough funding from the entities paying into it, it wouldn't change the amount of fee revenue that they would have going to the center because that's mandated by statute, if I understand correctly.
Those funds will continue to be for 911. That's what they're collected for, is for 911.
But as you do a general ledger, going back to Teresa, so that she can keep it all straight, when Bill comes in and says, we have 18 million that we are good for, everybody over budgeted themselves and we're at 20 million, then we look out there and see 700,000 in dispatching. That can be the piece of the equipment plus the equipping, the furniture and all that could come out of bond. So we have to take what goes out of bond so that we can pay out of bond. We can take out of what goes out of general fund that takes out of general fund. We've got to separate the two. Therein was the whole question about moving everything around.
Okay. And I have another question about the EOC building in the jail. Was the language in the bond written clearly enough? This may be an opinion, but I'm just kind of trying to place how that appropriation was made, because it was my understanding initially that was going to be part of the 911 center, or it was going to be in the courthouse, and when those things didn't happen, how did you all determine that it was okay to spend bond funding on the renovations of the jail?
That's another legal question.
I don't have an answer for you right now. Okay. Let me do it one more time and I'll try to figure out and get you an answer. The question being the renovation that's in the jail,
yes,
made for the EOC, the emergency operations, and using the bond proceeds that were designated for constructing the courthouse and the 911 center.
Yes.
I don't have an answer for you directly. Wasn't involved in those administrative decisions.
Okay.
Mr. Smith?
Two questions. One, historically, how much money does the field landline cell phones generate a year in the county? Total dollars. And two, is Claremore going to be involved? The city of Claremore, are they involved in the county 911?
You want to take that when you're 911?
Historically, I don't have the numbers. You're just talking landlines, or you're talking
I'm
cell
talking about
phones?
how much money, what's your nut? How much money have you got to start with in the county?
Janet?
That would be where a basic counting, where you'd have to know how much you got to spend before you
Right.
spend it.
Right.
Okay. How much is there? What does it generate?
We've got 3 different accounts, and we take in landlines, we get one account, and then we take in, and I don't have those numbers in front of me, Jim. I can get them for you.
I mean, it looks like to me, when you're paying out or spending money, you gotta need to know how much you got before you start spending.
Correct.
I mean,
And see, right now, the county funds all of the salaries, or 90% of the salaries come out of the general fund. And that's one of the questions here, is whether how we're going to continue to fund that part of it.
and each community gets, I know for a while, Owasso was getting Claremore's money, and they had trouble getting it back.
Right.
At one point. Does Claremore get their little part of the money, city of Claremore?
Claremore they get their own cell phone tax and their hardline tax.
But we don't know how much the county gets in total.
Well, the city itself gets its own. We don't have anything to do with that. That goes straight to the city for their cell phones and their landlines. But the county's landlines and cell phones, we do get, yes. And like I said, I don't have the numbers in front of me. I can't tell you the amount.
It's approximately $30,000 a month.
30,000 a month.
That's with all of the types of service, landline, VoIP, wireless,
And now that's the whole county.
not including Claremore.
Well, then what does Claremore do?
14% of our 50 cents. So on your wireless phone bill, you get 50, you pay 50 cents, and I believe they get 14%. And that is based on population.
So you're gonna have less than $400,000 a year to operate the 911 centers?
From 911 revenue, we're anticipating,
Janet, we need to keep these questions directed
Okay.
and answers, but you can answer it.
My question is just, how are you gonna afford it once you get it if you don't have the money there?
Because that's one funding source.
And then the county, the sheriff's department part, see, that's the cell phone, that's that part of the fund. And then the amount that the county puts in to dispatch for the sheriff's office will be part of it. And then the dispatching for everybody else will be part of it. And those are the funds that we're trying to determine right now.
And you're gonna charge the communities for dispatch?
Yes, sir. The 911, that's when you pay your 50-cent sales tax on your phone, that's the 911 part. We dispatch for the county for the 911, which means all we do is take the 911 calls in, and we can transfer it to whoever dispatches for whoever. But for us to dispatch for these entities along with that, that's where they're going to be remitting a dispatch fee, which all of them pay for dispatching now. So it's those funds will come from every entity that's involved. It's a tough thing. It hasn't been an easy run.
I don't see the money. I mean, I cannot see where you're gonna have, once you get this, how you're gonna afford to operate. I mean,
there are some counties, Muskogee County pays for it themselves. It comes out of their tax money. They pay for their own dispatching. The city of Muskogee pays part of it, and the county pays the rest of it. And it's about $70,000 a month, $35,000 a piece, right in that range. So it's, it's either have quality dispatching and pay for it, or live with what a lot of them have had for a long time. And if you'll talk to some of these entities, some of these places that have dispatching, they'll tell you this is going to be the best thing we've ever done. And it's going to be, you have a heart attack out someplace, they're actually going to find you.
well, like, is
Pretty
Wassa, the parts of Wassa that are in Rogers County, are they gonna use your dispatcher, Catoosa, are they using the dispatcher?
Right now, Catoosa's using Tulsa. They're on Tulsa, and Claremore is not coming on board right now, no.
And you do have contracts with all these entities that they are gonna use your dispatcher?
Well, for right now, we've got Rogers County is going to be dispatching for Rogers County Sheriff's Office. The other ones, we've got this trust that's put together. All of these entities are very interested in coming on.
You don't have them yet?
Huh?
You don't have them locked in with?
Well, they can be in for a month and drop out. So I mean, no, they can do whatever they want. We expect them to come in, yes. And eventually, we're hoping for the city of Claremore to come in. That was the plan from the very beginning. So.
Okay. Ms. Wilkie?
Okay, I have a question about the bonds that Mrs. Keegley presented to us today about the judgment. She spoke about an excess that's being held, and I'm not talking about the $2 million reserve fund that she talked about. I'm talking about what is in that account where the payments go out. Is there any way, or has there been something put into place where we could apply all the money that's collected directly to pay down the judgment, again, excluding the $2 million reserve?
To answer that question, yes, we could. But, some of that is in investment mode, so we're making some money on that for a cushion. But there will be, now, I think, are you talking about the bond money, or were you talking about the excess use tax money? Because she discussed two different things.
I'm talking about the excess bond
proceeds.
So whatever is being collected, I believe the 1/3 cent to pay off the judgment, that's what I'm talking about. Any extra money that's collected, so say our sales tax revenue is higher in December because of the holidays, could that extra money just be directly applied to the judgment?
Well, I believe it could. The goal is to pay it off as early as possible. I mean, that's why we added to the ballot the 1/80%. I mean, the goal is to pay it down as quickly as possible. And I would remind you that that bond indenturement was written that when it's paid off, it's paid off. They don't keep collecting that tax. It can't be used for anything else other than bond service. So, but that's the goal. So theoretically, yes, we can pay as much as we can possibly pay to get that debt taken off the books.
And the interest income that is made from the reserve accounts, and is there a purpose for that money, or is that also designated to go back to pay the judgment?
You know, she didn't discuss that, so I can't answer that question.
But I believe the interest on that bond, on the bond proceeds does stay in that account.
Yeah, it stays in there, yes, but I mean, we're not using it for anything else, but we can, I would assume we can pay the debt down with it.
Okay, and I have one more question, but I'm not sure. I guess first I'm going to ask you if I have permission to ask you about your comment that you made at the beginning of your announcement.
Sure.
Okay. My second question would be, I know that you're planning from your discussion earlier about requesting that this investigation be closed. Can you share any details about what the investigation has found to this point, and who has actually been determined to be responsible for those records that were left in the building?
I've just asked for them to conclude. So I would have to assume that until the district attorney decides or makes a decision on whether they're finished or not, because I don't know, that would be, I would have to assume that it was still somewhat ongoing. Okay? Up to this point, I couldn't comment because it may still be, I mean, I don't think it is, quite honestly, personal opinion. I think they're done, but that is up to the district attorney to make that announcement.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I hope so. Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Can I-
Sir?
Shalice, can I go back to your bond thing?
Yes.
Thank you. The bond was, you know, again, Downing is the bond attorney, but the person that could answer a lot of those local questions and get you answers that you need is Mark Downing. He is the local attorney that was on the bond indenturement for the $32 million, and he could probably give you more information on it since he was the local attorney that represented us for the bond. So he was paid by the bond sales, and he would also know those answers.
And it's
Ramsey.
okay. And is there an
Mark
issue with me correcting or contacting him directly? I've contacted some of your third-party vendors, if you want to call them that, before, and usually the response is, I can't speak to you about county business or contracts without their approval. So I guess my question would be, is it possible for you guys to put some mechanism in place where I could speak to him directly so he could explain it to me?
No, I don't know. Again, I just know that he was the local representative for it.
Okay.
And that through the bond indenturement and the payouts, that he was representing Paul Hanning and the Board of County Commissioners, and he read the documentation, and his services were rendered out at home.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, any more? Could you give your name and,
Yes, my name is Kristen Moore.
okay?
I have a question. In regards to the investigation that was just brought up about the records, at the previous commissioners meeting, when asked who put it on the agenda, you answered that you don't know. And I was wondering why you didn't know, but Mr. Delozier knew right away.
Because it didn't say on the agenda. What we do is, if you'll look at the agendas, almost everything has a name beside it. I don't know who puts it on there if it's not documented on that. I don't know how you knew.
So
I mean, I can't answer that.
anything, nobody knew. I guess my question is Mr. Delozier the only one who knew?
I can only speak for myself.
And you had no idea that...
No, I didn't say I didn't have an idea. I had a pretty
Okay,
good
well,
idea
you
who put it on
well, I
there,
was just
but to
wondering.
know, I didn't know. I mean, there's a difference.
Right, but you've spoken to your theories and stuff in the past, so I was just wondering.
I can barely hear you.
Okay, your theory has been brought out at meetings, you have theories of certain things, so I was just wondering, when asked the question, why you didn't speak to that?
I didn't know.
Okay. Thank you.
I mean, it's that simple. I did not know, and apparently he did, so, I mean, that's, I don't know how to explain that one. Okay, anything else? Yes, ma'am?
Maxine Chamberlain. I live in the Burgers area, but I live in Claremore, Rogers County. I am confused. When I voted yes to pay for this material services, I was watching the minutes, and this board approved that everything that went into there could not be taken off someplace else. So what are you calling surplus if you're not doing that? You said it was surplus.
Well, what that is there's a certain level.
No, we do not want you to touch it.
We're
That's
not
why we
touching it.
voted it. You are. Listen to your accountant.
No, that's inaccurate. The amount of the payment every month is a set.
Amount?
There's a
How do
set.
you know the sales tax?
Everything above that set amount of the payment is the excess, and it goes right back in. I mean, it's very simple. The payment, and we'll make you copies of that. You can see that anything above that amount is what is considered the excess per month. No, we don't know what the taxes will be, but we have a historical record of it, and we set it at, I think it was 15 years, and so that we could make those payments, counting on a certain amount of tax money to come in. But when more comes in than what we anticipate, that is the excess.
Yeah, it's not.
And so we turn around, it's not?
It's not.
What is it?
Because you told the people and you voted in your meeting that everything that is put in that account will stay in that account.
It is. That's where,
noble talk.
I can't help you then.
Thank you.
Anything else? I'll make you copies, by the way, so you can see it. I think once you see it on paper.
Mr. Delozier said he would, and he did.
Okay, get Mr. Delozier to do it. Are there any other comments? Okay. At this time, I'm gonna make a motion to recess. It's been a long, about 10 minutes, and we'll come back to sign purchase orders.
Yes, sir. You all right? Doing better than those there.
I make a motion to
Kurt, do you need anything?
Mayor, I gotta ask you a question. Where have you been? I come see you leave. The word on the street, but you ain't I got a question. We have a, go to the ball. We got a recreation.
The only ones that are up there are.
I don't know. Well, rec center for them.
Oh, that's 6.
Is it Wilco?
I think it's gonna take a little time.
Bottom line.
We're gonna start, what we're doing is start with what we've got. Dispatching.
Who's the records of the strong around the courthouse? Whose office? But, I mean, where do they at? Before they got these, they're in the district, so we've got the district attorney investigating the district attorney. Too smart, but I can tell you how that's gonna come out.
How are you?
I'm doing good.
Hang them all, let the Lord sort them out. The 911 center ain't gonna work. You gotta have money.
From what I can see on all the records that I'm looking at, the funds are all staying in that account.
If you Claremore, you got $400,000 a year. Claremore, we got, I call 911, I got
I think the surplus that he's talking about isn't the.
No, break 911 center, I want to be involved with that.
Lawsuit. I think the surplus is in that other,
You know what, very done.
which is.
My advice, back to Packy.
Those surplus funds can,
What's
which
that, was it?
these accounts.
But you got the district attorney, investigative.
Yes, bond proceeds. And those accounts are being, that's, what she came in here with, there's two different complete bonds. And the one bond was what we call a lawsuit, which is, and that one can't go anywhere except for pay those bonds. And I'll watch it pretty closely.
And you got
What are you doing today?
No, I have to make you some copies, I don't. I've got so much paper today.
Hey, you need to get back to work, because we need more tax dollars.
I'm trying to retire. I want to draw that government check.
Yeah, talk to David Bond about that. Yeah, I was gonna say Tommy. See, I was gonna get the courthouse.
And the reason why it's under 80 on there, and I didn't put that under 80.
We've got a lot of papers today. Okay, federated crime obligation. Okay, this is a bond payment.
I'll go make her one.
Okay, this is
You want all of
finance.
it?
Well, I think it may mix her up on some of them, because some of them are the that's a reserve fund, that's finance authority, that's a whole different ballgame. Marcia, okay, there's the courthouse capital improvement revenue bond, and then this one here is that's a construction fund. This is for the 911 center and the courthouse. Now, this is a different bond altogether.
Well, why did they discuss it?
They did talk, and that's where the excess funds were, was in the courthouse stuff. Okay, and okay, these are the excess funds. Rosita, this is a use tax excess fund. That's all in one big deal here. Okay, this is the judgment. Yeah, if you just make her a copy of all that, right there.
Oh, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Well, I can ask you going to the restroom. I'll go with you.
All right, come on.
All right, boys.
There's your daughter back
Yeah.
there, Maxine.
Go get her.
Oh, she's probably wanting to kiss me.
Why won't give you a hug?
Open it up, there's a little note in there for you.
Are they dismissed?
Did Deloach get those copies for you?
Yeah, do something.
Teresa worked these up like Friday.
Okay. I'll get it, I'll just drop everything else.
What are you doing, Chief?
Oh.
So these are, you know, your signature here on the eyes right there.
What are you
doing for lunch? I'm not, I'm not. Well,
Speak to him. Janet has spoken to him.
I didn't mean to be hard on you.
No, you're not at all.
But
I
the
understand.
commissioner, that the chairman gets all this adverse publicity.
Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
I should have said it this way. If you work, and you draw a check of some kind over the month, and all of your bills are $2,000, and 1 month you draw $2,500, okay, that 500's excess. You roll that into the next month, so that if the next month, say you only draw 1,500, you can still make your $2,000 payment. Okay, this money is not being used anywhere except for that bond. That's the way the bond indenturement's even written. We couldn't use it if we wanted to.
That's what's confusing people.
Well,
You
but we
know,
couldn't.
we caught 43 and 41. And we
Yeah.
don't find those anyplace.
No. What that is,
He's getting me
okay,
copies.
what that is, those are different funds.
Yeah, that's what Dan said.
Okay, and what we have to do is make sure that this fund has to be used, for this purpose. But that's not the bond. That's money that's coming in from 911 fees, landline fees. And we have discretion, just like the one thing I voted no on. Okay, I think we should take it out of the general fund. But those two said, no, take it out of the bond money. Either one of those is legal
Well,
to use.
the bond for the E9 courthouse, I can understand. Because the money was voted there, and we don't care whether you buy telephones or you buy toilet stools.
Well, but we're also, and you're right, but what we're trying to do is make sure we have enough bond money at the end, because, it's taken a long time to get this 911 center off the ground. And so prices, some things have changed, and we want to make sure we have enough money in the bond to build it and buy phones. But see, these funds weren't in the 911, these were the ones going in the Emergency Operation Command Center that's going into the jail.
Well, what I'm afraid of is she's trying to lump them all together, that you didn't have a purchase order for it.
You mean the director?
Solution.
Oh, no, not really. No, she was trying to get to the bottom of, okay, what does the bond pay for? What does this fund pay for? What does, and it is confusing if you're not dealing with it every day. But the thing is, when you have, we're trying to make sure we use the money in the right way.
I know.
I mean, that's all we're trying to, and so that raises some questions sometimes. But anyway, that's where that's all kind of going.
Okay.
But we just want to get that thing finished.
Then people like me that's saying, hey, our commissioner's doing a hell on this. That's when I get a good job.
Are you out saying that?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm out saying, I don't say anything that I don't want to tell people that I'm doing.
You're nothing like your daughter.
That's why we fight.
Oh, yeah?
We don't. But anyway, we do have our opinions.
Well, absolutely, and that's the thing, we encourage people to ask questions, but they can, I went to a Republican thing the other night, and I told them, look, you can just call me. I'm accessible, my number's out there, I've got 5 different email addresses, got a phone here, got a phone at the warehouse, I carry 2 cell phones. If people want to get a hold of me, they can, if they really want to. And they do, they call me up. Yeah, you've called me, but not everybody
Got
does.
me out of a snowstorm.
Did we? That's right, we did dig you out of a snowstorm, I forgot about that.
Yes.
But now I want you to know, we blame the Lozier
I'm
for that snowstorm.
good, thank you.
I said, I want you to know though, we blamed Delozier for that snowstorm. That's right.
Get off the lotion.
It was his turn to be in charge of the weather that winter. The last winter with very little snow, right here,
That was
sister,
you.
right here.
Oh, that was you,
I tell
huh?
everybody, if you think it's good, I said it. If you think it's bad, I wouldn't say it.
See you, take care, did you get all the stuff?
I'm in.
Good.
Thank you, Ms. Chambers.
In the same place where you usually sit.
These are all last year's.
You look a lot like her. Oh, okay.
When does she want to call? This week?
That equipment from Motorola, there's only 3 more agencies that can get into that center.
I voted against that equipment.
What
Tell him where he understands it.
When they come out the other day to do their timeline and their layout of this equipment,
Okay,
there's 7 VHF spots, 1 UHF spot, and 1 800 spot.
okay, that sounds great to me.
So you already have 4 over in the center. You got Rogers County Sheriff, Burgers PD, Burgers Fire, and Tri-District already.
Right.
So that leaves 3 more agencies able to come into that radio system.
Why?
I appreciate it.
That's what the equipment was. That's what was presented.
Well, if that's accurate, that won't work. Oh, that's not why you voted against it, you didn't know what you were talking about. He's over here, I'll tell you what, this Delozer, he is wearing me out, Miss Chambers.
Lund,
I'm
Chambers, Lund.
Chambers, what did I say, Chambers?
Chambers.
I'm sorry, I've got a Chambers cemetery and I'm always thinking about that.
Oh, wow.
See you, I'm going.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Why not?
Because it's Delozer's fault.
Always is. No.
Everything is. Have we got all of our shell picked up over there we're gonna pick up?
I'm gonna shut it down today. There's more, but I got too many other things going.
Did you thank Commissioner Helm for the work he came up and did in your area for you?
No, I just see his equipment there. I couldn't tell you done anything yet.
We'll just help. I miss Oklahoma.
Hey, how are you?
What's up, Miss Oklahoma?
Not much.
He's all our report on this on the other side. He did, process. Please, one play. That's called
I had to lay over hanging limbs over there, so I went up the hill and I thought, well, let's go over down.
Oh, don't tell me you're gonna get out another sign on your field. He does it every week.
Or Mike. That's Mike.
He'll want something
That'll
for it.
help Portis.
Yeah, he's wanting something.
Get his stuff done. Then he can be in and out, and we don't have that DNA.
He can come in.
People can run off.
Yeah.
This way, Helm can come back and say that, you know, he had to come fix our roads for
So
us.
now when it's asphalted, it'll be an actual lookout mountain now, so what you're saying, parking area.
No, there's too many houses and guardrail.
Well, that side portion's gonna be developed anyways.
Yeah, there's the south
To the north.
to the north.
Yeah. All that's gonna be developed anyways.
Well, that's not the port's north, is it? I didn't think it was, it's just to the south there.
No, the
So
port's
they'll-
south.
Yeah, port's south, so this
They
helps.
didn't know good, they just stuck it right in there.
I see.
You over there? Is it you or District One over there?
I've already,
Courthouse.
what name?
That's for District One.
District One's on the truck.
Hey, who's the lady that asked you a question about, did you know?
I don't know who it is.
I wondered who she was.
Why is that so unbelievable that one person can know and one other person doesn't know? Why is that? I don't understand.
Executive session, you're supposed to keep that
Well, that'd be like, you should ask her, well, do I know when your mail is delivered to your house?
Well, I mean, no, I'm not gonna ask that, but I mean, I'm just.
But you know what I'm saying, it's the same difference.
It's kind
I
of
mean,
like.
I don't know what time mail comes to your house, but I don't know what time it comes to mine. Comes to mine 2 o'clock. Well, is it come to 2:01 at yours or 2:02 at yours? I don't
That's
know.
what I'm
I've never
saying.
timed it.
People always think you're avoiding the question, but if you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. I don't know who put it on.
Was that last week when I was on vacation?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was last week.
That's why some of the stuff you guys were discussing and I'd look at Teresa like, I don't know, what's it here?
Do you need me to stick around?
No, I just want you to tell me what you're doing all day.
Well, get ready to go to the Catoosa School, meet with the superintendent, see what he's wanting.
What's he want?
Fence dozed out or ripped
Yeah, that's
out,
over
or-
there between them and that Walmart. They want to put a fence up to keep the kids from wandering over there onto that other
He called me while I was sitting out there, so I'm going out there and see what he's got. See how quick I can get on that.
Tell him we
Get
said
rock
hello.
over. Supposed to be bringing it right now, early this morning.
Tell him I said hello.
Okay.
Okay, well,
And I got bush hogging going, I got.
I saw one of them running up Lamb Hill this morning when I was
Little,
coming in.
big, medium, whatever.
Ain't very much to mow up there because we boom axed it all, but there was a little bit up there they couldn't get to because boom ax quit. It's the grass, so I'll send them up there to mow that. Yeah, I've got brush crew over on Crestview finishing up. He said they'd had about 30 minutes maybe to finish up over there, and then they're going down that road where they went and picked up trash up that time. Bosworth's goes down there and
Yeah.
there's a bunch of trees down there, so that's on work order.
By that cemetery?
No.
Oh,
When you get to
I-
the turnpike,
Oh, okay.
turns
Yeah,
off.
I know what you're talking about.
That down there, I had work order, same, it's on the same sheet. So they're gonna do the trees on that as soon as they get done with Murray or Crestview.
There's a couple of roads, I was out checking roads over the weekend where they didn't go down and mow in certain areas, and I can't remember where they were. There was some dead ends, and
Okay, I'll go down there and drive around.
I don't remember just where it was at.
Alrighty. Need it. See you later.
Later.
See you, Terry.
See ya, Mike.
See you, Terry, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, thank you.
I forgot, Mr. Chamberlain, that you're not my accountant.
What?
You're not my accountant.
I just wanted to let you know, I was referred to as the accountant, so.
My
I
accountant,
did a great
commissioner
job.
slash
I did a
CPA.
great job explaining evidently. Better than Curtis. Curtis couldn't, oh, hang on.
Record needs to reflect that I'm the only one that's still on the job.
Everyone else has left the building.
I thought we was having some big zoning issue or something today. It's full house.
It was a full house.
Up,
They're getting behind you.
Christine. Up. Up. I can fix it. Good to go. Can we take that off our bill?
I think I like it. From her.
Oh, I don't either. He's faking. He's faking.
What's that?
Your cough. You're trying to get out of signing purchase orders.
Yeah, I am. As soon as he comes in, I'm going, I gotta go rest.
He won't come back till we got about 5 or 6 left.
Man, I can't do it when I'm having to be the accountant too. There goes Bill. Gosh, I'd love to run again.
He's getting out of here.
Don't blame me. Miss Chambers got that,
Chamberlain.
okay, whatever.
Chamberlain.
She got that mixed up on those two accounts. I didn't know Mark Ramsey wouldn't talk to her. I thought Mark would talk to her. He got paid to read it and sign off on it. I think you could tell why that indenture was that way. Who's Mark Downey?
Oh, no.
Oh, he's with the railroad yard.
Oh, there you go. Mark Downey.
Mark Downey, yeah. The one that always dresses like Steve Irwin.
Yeah, I got him.
Looks like the crocodile hunter.
Because when he said that name, I wasn't thinking too much about it. 'Cause
I talked to him this morning, that's what got me messed up.
Well, Danny should have
Jumped in there.
jumped in on that one. He knows who Mark Downey is.
I wish you'd quit picking on Danny.
Pick on Danny.
I think
We're
you
gonna
do.
have these to sign also. I'll have
You're
to
always
get a marker
picking
or ask Larry to bring one.
I think you're trying to bully him.
How come when they keep saying,
You're a bully.
how come they keep saying who left the records out? Why don't they just say something?
You're a bully.
Hey.
That's why.
They said that we're not.
I don't understand that.
We're still.
Oh, that number? Oh, my God.
What number?
That number?
What number?
149235.
Is Larry still in the building?
Larry?
Right there, and I've been saying
Larry.
since there was 4 of them, I've been saying back and forth.
That's right, Larry Curtis. Oh, Larry Curtis, please come.
Mr. Curtis, Mr. Curtis.
Why do I have to write this down?
No, it's for me.
Oh, dang.
I'm
It's like, why do I have to
paging
write
you.
this down? Yes,
Look at that.
company letterhead. You didn't make it. It's Cox Communications. I didn't make it.
Company letterhead. That's funny.
I know. I'm just pointing it
Oh,
out to you.
okay.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I mean,
That's
the
funny.
image should pop in there.
Right.
Yeah, no.
I thought that was funny.
Do you really have, is that really necessary for them to put company letterhead on it?
Well, I think that's, well, whatever.
Okay.
Because apparently they looked up there and saw it said company letterhead, and said, okay,
That is what they
That is
Have you
sufficient.
signed before?
Yeah.
And do you have a marker for this? Or do you want me to go get one?
Oh, no, I'll go get one.
I got one.
Yeah, there you go.
Wow, how convenient.
What's today's date? The 26th.
Danny?
And he's gone again.
Yeah. Well, quit picking on him, Packer. Leave him alone.
It wasn't me.
Danny, I'm taking up for you.
Okay, as they say on Duck Dynasty, he gone.
He's gone. Hey, it wasn't me.
That's kind of like you last week. You were gone.
I sure was. I enjoyed myself too.
It was quieter last week. Did you notice that?
It was quiet, and then I come back and everything breaks loose again.
No breaking.
That.
Maybe you can close your
I
mind.
just need to take a breath.
I'll need to sign that
It
after
was
he
nice.
signs that.
Maybe you can be county clerk.
Or I can go ahead and sign that while
Do
waiting.
what now?
I said, maybe you can be county clerk from home.
I wasn't at home. I was in Colorado.
You know, I heard you don't even show up half the time till
No
11
phone
o'clock.
service. Oh, really?
That's what I heard.
Had you
Well,
been
that's a
at,
Where's
vicious
somebody-
rumor.
had you been at the Republican Northeastern Technology Center, you would have got thrown under the bus.
Man, I'll never get up first again.
You know?
Did both of you guys get to go?
Oh, I softened it up for Helm.
Oh,
And then Helm got up there and, I don't know, he started talking about something. He was
what-
Rodney
what's his
King.
name?
Can't we all get along?
What's his name?
Can't we all just get along?
Bill, he wanted to know why I talked about the sinking fund when it's really going into debt. That's what a sinking fund is. I tried to,
I didn't understand that one.
I didn't try to get that too. Don't mess it up.
Makes me proud.
Try to be nice about it.
Okay. I see
And
one else.
Nobody said nothing about us taking it, putting the indenturement on.
No, no one ever said
And
anything
forgetting
about
that, hey, we could have applied it to the ad valorem tax and they would have all been paid.
paid off in 3 years.
That's right.
But
God,
they forgot about
what a
that
kicker.
part.
What a kicker.
We could have done nothing, nothing whatsoever. And then,
Yeah, you know, everybody's property tax could have gone up and yet. at the
what do you
same
think your
time-
electric bill would have done?
Oh.
PSO property went
PSO
through
would cost
the roof.
$9 million for 3 years.
Yeah.
And yet nobody said, hey, that was a great idea. Nope, you sorry dirty dog.
Actually, I said it was a great idea.
Yeah, you did.
I did, I said it was a great idea.
Well, you were throwing Robin under the bus, but hey.
I didn't throw Robin under the bus. I didn't throw you under the bus.
Thank you.
Whatever, it's okay.
Did he
'Cause
tell
that
you I
would've
threw you
hurt.
under the bus?
I haven't talked to anybody.
I just said it was
Just now.
completely your fault and they should vote you out of office, that's all I said.
Ooh, that hurts.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I tried to text people from up there in the mountains where I was, and they wouldn't get it till the next day.
Yeah.
I tried to text Teresa something about the agenda, and she texted me back like that night. She goes, "Oh, it's too late. We've already got the agenda done." And I said, "I've been trying to send this text all day, and you're just now getting it."
Jenny wants a lot of things, doesn't she, son?
I just got a text that disregard that message, it was only supposed to go to one person. I didn't get a message, so apparently they got it right.
Someone was confused, huh?
Apparently.
Evidently they came to Kurt's mom.
Oh, come on. They're fishing out there. In fact, when I'm doing a presentation, I already have all my copies made for everybody.
But you know, I
I'm
gave them
just
all
saying.
assignments and it looked like
I'm just saying.
I was deaf ears.
Are you going to be around? I'll need to talk to you probably in about 30 to 45 minutes.
We'll probably be done in about, how long?
Probably about 15.
About 15 minutes.
Okay. Well, if you're not around, I'll call you on your cell phone.
Okay.
Okay.
You can do one-on-one as well.
No.
Have you looked at him? He's quite round. Jeff, you know, he's going around.
Hi, Miss Jenny.
What do you need to talk to me about, Kelly?
What?
What do you need to talk to me about mentally?
Oh, I'm sorry. I couldn't hear.
Oh, no, I was talking to her.
I'm gonna write down
My trip to Delaware.
Hey, Dan, glad you could join us for
Thank you.
the
Thank you for
part of
noticing I was gone.
part of your
Hey,
job.
hey, quit picking on Danny.
Oh, here we go, here we go. It's all about Danny now. Poor Danny. Pick on Danny.
Here you go. Good puppy, see? He's waiting for you.
Me?
David? Me? He came up here a minute ago.
If this other camera works, and I will be able to shoot this from the back of the room.
Say again?
If the other camera works, I'll be able to shoot video from the back of the room.
Thank goodness.
Is that what that was?
It's a trial run. like the shots you see on Facebook, people hold it in front of their face and talk to it and pass it along. That wouldn't be distracting at all. Is the sound gonna be better on the next one?
I hope.
Because that's the only thing that I've heard.
It's not very good because sometimes your mics are a little out of place. And then there's no mic out here for the public. The public really
You know,
needs a
we had
microphone.
one out there for the first meeting. I don't know what happened to that.
So if everybody would go to the podium and ask questions, like we would ask them to, and then use the mic, it would work.
If, you know,
There was a lady back there in the corner. I couldn't hardly hear her. I'm
Well-
kind of hard of hearing, and I was really straining to hear what she was saying.
Yeah. Okay,
I've seen her before, but I don't know where.
I've never seen her.
I have.
I don't know who she is. But I couldn't hear her. We probably need to do that, get our microphone up here. And
We had one.
we had one that, was it the first meeting, Jenny?
I think so.
We've got to get that back out, because I know some people can't hear in the back if someone is speaking, you know, over here, if they have a soft voice or something.
I think Christine Wilboy knows about it.
So you're on camera duty?
I guess so.
What this is they send it to us, so we wouldn't know
I have to ask you, are you Celicia's mother-in-law?
Yes, I am.
That explains a lot.
You know, because they mail it to us.
Mail it that day and we don't get it for that, you know.
Yeah, because I don't get it out there. I just wanted you to know.
We had a lot of things.
Danny, I'm trying to get hold of Bill on that plane. See if we can't do something like 1:30 or so. We're gonna grab some lunch.
Okay.
Okay, Nelson, I asked you to do something 15 minutes ago and I forgot.
No, he's coming. I can't go to that.
Okay. You keeping an eye on him for me?
Well, can we quit picking on Nelson?
Yeah. Then you can pick on Nelson.
It's too much fun.
What's Mary Nelson?
I don't know, why are you picking on him?
I don't know what you're talking about. I think if somebody's getting picked on, it's me being picked on by you today.
Oh,
Boy,
I didn't say a word.
well, Mike was striking up for me a minute ago.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that.
You guys are something else.
Keep these suckers in order.
Hey, have you guys having a problem with your batteries lately?
Batteries on.
On what?
On your equipment?
No.
Trucks, anything?
Nope.
Just the ones they steal.
Oh, no, I've been replacing them.
We have an occasional battery stolen. If we leave equipment out,
Yeah, you did actually.
they like to steal it.
I got tied up, not all.
Did you get sidetracked?
That daughter's looking for something, I'm gonna have to go down to
Thank you.
storage. You got tied up.
And
I'll
I'll be down there for a while, getting some daily jackets
It's gonna be hot,
from
so
10 and
you
11.
be careful. Okay?
Don't go down there and hurt yourself.
Be extremely careful.
Well, they'll probably be pretty well back since
Be
they're
safe.
10 and 11.
You know that eventually you'll take Kelly to the Hammond house and pick her up.
Oh, there's no doubt about it.
Not that I'm keeping score.
Hey, see, Sonya didn't join in this time because I took her to Pizza Hut Friday. She didn't hop on that bag train this time.
You took Kelly to Hammond House again?
No,
Just the first time?
they're still raving about the.
We're still giving him a hard time about it.
Because he's never taken his boss to Hammond House
He
either.
never even took me to McDonald's. It's okay, because I wouldn't go.
Nicky D?
Very right.
They have kids
I
meals,
saw
you
on
know.
television, Oprah said, don't eat beef, so I don't, I listen.
Oh,
You're
God.
right. And that's coming from a cattle rancher?
I thought you were going to use this morning to write down.
Yeah, well, they were, sometimes you know, objects in motion tend to stay in motion.
There you go.
That's what was going on
Hey.
there.
I'm headed to
Oops.
the store.
Okay.
Sonia, where are we at?
We're getting close.
Okay, so she says that usually about, what, 40, 50 days?
No, I'm telling the truth.
This time?
Let me slip one in here. This is that contract demolition. There were 2 pages.
Is that all?
That's all.
I don't have to get yogurt.
I don't have any.
So if I just got my regular sugar. Yeah, should I check the hamstring before I get here?
They'll probably do a pretty good job at that.
We can't do it, can we say? We can't do it.
You just do what you can.
Thank you. Don't have to meditate somewhere in there.
That's,
Hey, come in here.
I haven't tried that part yet. They say that's-
I think so.
yeah.
Hey, Dan, on those minutes, usually I go over them. We'll do them together. And then we got 2 sets of eyes, but I wasn't here last week, so I
They weren't bad.
apologize for that.
They weren't bad. I just thought, I track those resolutions when I have them like that.
Yeah.
I thought that if that number was on there, it would make all the difference. And the other one
Yeah.
was just a typo.
Well, we wrote them down so we could correct them. Is Ryan here this week?
Huh?
Yeah.
Is Ryan here this week?
Yeah.
Hey, Jenny? Jenny? Paging Jenny. Jenny. Jenny.
What?
When we do determinations on the sheriff's people, are we getting back our uniforms? Or what's happening? I mean, we've been going through a ton of POs on uniforms, embroidery, the whole bit, their names and everything. So we're paying, and then they bring them back to us, so what happens?
The letter that they signed says that they brought everything back. I don't actually take inventory of
So
it.
who gets that? They get over
The
there?
sheriff.
So they have to hire another guy named Bill? If his name's embroidered
Yeah.
on the
That's
shirt.
the hard part.
Yeah, another
It
deputy
has to
name.
be the same size.
Yeah, the same size.
Is there,
Hey, easy.
The calendar?
the green sticky notes?
Well, I was just checking, Jenny.
Not hard of hearing.
What?
What? What? How much longer? How much longer? Are we there yet?
No, I don't have one, I bought it.
Hey, I heard that too many times last week, I don't wanna hear it again.
I might get one if I.
Ask Sonia how much longer.
Sonia, how much longer are we
I'm
there
gonna
yet?
say, 6 minutes.
Not 5, not 7, not 10. 6.
Sonia, if it's more than 6, what happens?
Then it's more than 6.
Just give them all.
Are you guys coming to yoga today?
Are we what?
Coming
You
to
know,
yoga?
if I had my yoga pants, I would have been there, but I don't have those purchased yet, and I've made a special order.
They do have men's yoga.
I brought mine.
Sorry.
Bring your order.
Oh, yeah. Y'all gonna be serving donuts?
Yes.
If you're gonna serve donuts, I'll
This is
be.
it right here.
They may look like fruit, but I can assure you,
The other day on the email it said broccoli.
that's what it said. Forgot what I wrote you back. He asked if they were donuts, and I said, yes, it may look like broccoli and carrots, but I assure you, they're donuts. Eat all you want.
Wow.
You didn't know you were gonna get hateful with this hire, now did you?
I thought the donut would be a reward for attending the class.
Yeah. They always have donuts when we go to other classes.
Well, I'm not in other classes, so there's your treat.
That's a treat right there.
You just saw, don't mess it up.
You didn't have little sister, did you? You did.
10 years younger than me.
How many?
10.
10?
Just one though, right?
Just one. I have an older sister too.
Your middle, that's why.
That explains a lot.
I also have 2 older brothers too. So not exactly, she's the middle.
Yeah.
You're all 3 middle.
Okay.
But your older sister's the middle.
Yes, she's the middle.
You're the middle lower.
You number 4.
You're the lower one.
And one below you?
Number 5.
4 out of 5?
Number 4 out of 5.
Just one below you?
Just one below.
6 and 9.
Yes, be wary. There are 5 of us out there.
I've got 4 brothers and a sister,
Beware.
and I'm the best looking.
One's in Afghanistan,
She
one's in
pretty
Mississippi.
homely.
I'm here, and the other one is in Tunnel.
You just have one more maybe. This one, she's in HR too? Yeah.
Where does she work?
JDM. He's their HR manager there.
That's your mom's, it's an R, your mother's an RN, right?
Yeah, she's at St. Francis. Yeah.
Okay, you got some,
I'm not even sure what that is, that was in the stack. I wasn't here, I'm not sure what it is, so don't worry about that. Check it later.
okay, these are permits.
Or maybe do it.
So, yeah, I forgot.
you already said that you want the same thing again.
Huh? Did you? And she said,
Who's short?
oh, she did? Well, good, good, maybe she'll leave you alone.
Thank you, Larry.
Okay, Larry.
HR left.
You go.
That's
In the first term, there's 10A.
It's not like people.
And there's street, and then you go down, and then the curves, we're in the first year level, you would sign in on the other side. If you go two ways, you can go to the early opposite, you just go down to the dead end. So you just get on the hill. Or there's a park here, or people have to park. Yes. Because I heard that first kind of road, behind it, and it was
how do you do that?
Yes, we placed that for the road on that time. So, another theater, was down there to kick back, watch.
They're not like people that way. This is a state. Not.
Somebody reversed.
It's Monday, 26th. Oh, man.
It's my daughter's birthday.
How old is she?
18.
Buy her a new car?
No.
Surely you bought her a new car for her birthday.
Yeah, right.
You're almost ancient.
I am ancient.
You're a bad
No,
mother, what
she's
you are.
getting $100 and a slip kick.
$100, that's more than I got.
She's singing.
That's about what my parents gave me for my birthdays all the time. Until I was 22, 23 years old, we added them all up, it make up to $100.
Totaled it up, yeah.
Yeah.
It's less, the older you get, you get less.
Yeah, I'd like to be her daughter, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Well, no, I wouldn't, actually.
Yeah. No, wait, you already said yeah. Okay,
Get it. Do you need this?
I'll just do it later. Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny, for Christmas.
You're welcome. I cherish you.
Is that it?
That's it.
Like we always say, it's all one big pot. Just get little pieces. I can keep
Her name is Kristen Rohr. Kristen Rohr. Rohr.
I couldn't understand what she was
I
saying.
couldn't understand either. Except for the part about, what do you know, when do you know? Okay, do we have a motion to pay purchase orders from all departments?
On my agenda, Mark.
I'll make a motion.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm. Motion's been carried and approved.
We have a motion to recess or adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thacker,
Aye.
Delozer,
Aye.
Helm.